That's great.
Happening now.
Brought to you by PSG. PSG Traffic Services exists to save lives by providing safe work zones and to provide all your traffic needs. PSG is hiring team members. Excellent pay and benefits. Call 910-821-1720 or visit psgtrafficservices.com.
Crooked teeth may embarrass kids whose families can't afford braces, and trying to fix their teeth themselves can make things worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. For children and teens who qualify and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, treatment can be life-changing and help them smile with confidence. Learn more at aaoinfo.org.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Now, your chance to win one.
Beer City's best sports talk. Live from the Ingalls Studio.
It is ESPN Asheville. You're in the Sportsocracy. 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, and we are seen live in the Ingalls Studio on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat here each and every day. And a lot to get into today because the Carolina Panthers, they have a new general manager. They continue to search for a head coach. But the general manager, they didn't get the best in the business. They didn't get the brightest star on the market. We decided to stay in-house for this thing. Let's go. 2-15, and let's just fire away with a guy who's been here to watch the disaster happen.
Yeah. I want to say nice things. I really do. Because, and look, I think Dan Morgan is a really nice guy. I think he's a really smart guy. Mm-hmm. Here is my problem. I'm going to give you a scenario, and it's going to apply to Dan Morgan, and it's going to apply to something else. I have given you a member of a greater day. It's a guy that you feel really good about because he was a player when the Panthers were good, and you should feel good about this because he is here to save the day. I'm just not really sure he's actually qualified to do what it is that I'm asking him to do right now. I could be talking about Dan Morgan, or I could be talking about when you brought back Cam Newton when nobody else in the NFL would touch him. Because that's exactly what this screams to me. Did you notice nobody else in the NFL interviewed Dan Morgan for this job? Mm-mm. Their GM job. Nobody was. I wonder why that could be. I wonder why that could possibly be. Oh, because the assistant GM of what might be the worst front office in the NFL over the last 3 years is probably not who I would be turning to fix things.
There's only two possible outcomes here. There's only two possible logical reasons for why this happened.
I think Soaring Eagle just hit one of them in the YouTube chat.
Okay.
Job's so toxic that was the best David Tepper could possibly do.
Bingo. That's one of them. That's one of them. The other one, it's the same thing that we've thought for the last 3 years. David Tepper's over his skis and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Like, I don't understand how you got to this point without everyone saying no. Right? You reached out to every hotshot superstar, the dude from Las Vegas, Champ Kelly, or
Ed Dobbs.
Yeah, any of those guys. You reached out to them and they laughed you off the phone.
Yeah, they wanted to come to Charlotte or do a Zoom interview just see the sights of the best banking city in the country. Mm-hmm. That's possible, I suppose. I don't find it to be really likely.
Really?
And I'm not really at liberty to tell you how I know this, but there is a candidate that was up for this job that I can't believe would say no. Okay. If it was offered.
Okay.
He's interviewed for a lot of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a great GM in this league one day. And I don't know specifically that it was offered, and I don't specifically know that he said no. I struggle to believe it was offered, and I struggle to believe he said no.
Mm-hmm. Would it have been a name that we would know other than Dan Morgan?
Yes.
Would it have won more than this did? Because the only thing that this has created is more derision amongst the fan base, from what I can tell.
I have yet to see anybody that's in the know that is really happy about this. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's not saying that Dan Morgan is a bad guy.
Nope.
It's not saying that he was a bad scout. It's not saying that he was a bad assistant GM. It's saying that you had a stink attached to you because not only did you trade your best player, your best offensive player by a mile, arguably your best player, period, plus 2 first-round picks, plus 2 second-round picks to go up and get a quarterback who was genuinely awful. And you bypassed a guy that will get at least a third-place vote for MVP.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make that higher. You can't sell it. No matter how bad you want to put out every picture of him with his neck roll playing for the Panthers 10 years ago, you can do it until you're blue in the face.
It was 20 years ago, actually.
Was it 20 years ago? I just remember him being really annoying at Miami.
He was on the first Super Bowl team. 2003.
Yeah, I guess he's 46 years old, so I guess that math does math.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you were trying to do. And I think that's my biggest problem with it, is I do know what you were trying to do. You were trying to pander to the fan base to get the fan base on your side. And that is what losers do. Straight up. I mean, I can't be nice about this. I just can't. Because the thought process here is too easy for me to figure out. And it wouldn't be so easy if you hadn't done the Cam thing. Because you're pandering to a fan base because you can't figure out what it is about you that is rubbing them the wrong way. Well, let me tell you, you keep doing things like this that blow up in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Dan Morgan may come in here and be exponentially better than we all think he is.
He very well could.
You didn't win here.
Here's my concern.
And he's starting down 6 just solely because of everything we've already said.
No doubt. Look, if everybody said no to this job, I would not be surprised. If I've got options, I don't want to tie myself to a franchise with an owner who's got a short fuse already. I'm not promised any kind of job security, and I'm tasked with the impossible, or what seems like the impossible at the moment. I've got a first-round bust quarterback right now. I know it's too early for that tag. But
we don't use that term on this show until 3 years out.
But when you're looking at it, that's what we see. Right, a quarterback that came in, struggled, was over his skis, obviously didn't have the talent around him. Well, guess what? The same guy you just hired helped put that talent around him.
And that's where this falls flat.
He came up through the system in Seattle with Scott Fitterer. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me that they don't have similar ideas on how to structure a team. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm having a hard time figuring out how people aren't seeing this. The ones that are all excited about this, I get the ever-optimism of being the fan, but those who actually believe that this was a solid choice coming from inside the organization of a broken franchise and a guy who grew up with, in the business, the guy you just fired. You can't make this make sense to me.
Well, you got to take off your kitty cat fanboy glasses because – I mean, and this is hard for some fans to digest. What you think doesn't really matter. Here's who it does matter to. Do you think Ben Johnson looks at Dan Morgan and goes, yep, that's who I'm going to tie my first shot at a head coach to? Do you think Mike Vrabel is looking at Dan Morgan going, yeah, that's who I want to tie myself to? Do you think any high-level coach is going, yeah, that's who I want to tie myself to? You know what this hire tells me? There's a much better chance of the next Carolina Panthers coach being Dave Canales than I thought there was 24 hours ago.
Mm-hmm. That's where I've thought you've been the whole time.
You have, and I'll admit, I didn't think we were there.
You keep going around in circles of we're going to interview all the greatest candidates. None of them want your job. So you're going to have to settle for somebody like that. You're going to have to settle for, a recycle type. A Leslie Frazier would be like the best you could possibly get. Him and Raheem Morris, and I'm just trying to think of the guys that they're respected in the league. You could tell they're the Todd Bowleses, right? The Todd Bowleses of the league that you look at and go, that guy was a failure somewhere else, but he's so well respected.
So you're saying they're the bowels of the league?
Yes.
But
it's absolutely the bowels of what you can get in this class of head coaching candidates. You're going to be resigned to doing this. And this is why you were resigned to do this with Dan Morgan. This would have made sense, had he not already been in the building. If you'd have hired him from Buffalo,
Nope. Wouldn't have made sense to me.
It might have made more sense that way.
Wouldn't have made sense to me, and I'll tell you why. Name me a tougher GM job in the NFL right now.
Than the Carolina Panthers?
Name me one of the 32 NFL jobs.
I don't think there is one.
This is a team that should have the number one pick in the draft, and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a pick in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Your star pass rusher is not signed for next year. Do you sign him? Do you not? You've got more questions than you have answers. And you hired a guy where all signs point back to Scott Fitterer. And the first mistake you make that becomes blatantly obvious, let's say you bungle a draft pick, or you bring in a free agent and the free agent goes to the media and just says, I wasn't impressed with Carolina. The first reason you give to doubt this guy, it's going to tie right back to Scott Fitterer.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess where I'm at is this makes me wonder, because we keep going back to did everybody else say no? I know a couple names on this list. Know them personally.
Okay.
If you gave them the platitude of you've got 5 years to fix this, you get to hire your head coach, they wouldn't have said no.
But you're not getting that.
But you're not getting that, and that's the problem, is that David Tepper has this reputation of being really quick-tempered and really quick on a trigger, which means that guys like Ed Dodds, no, that's not where I'm taking my shot. I'm going to interview for every job in this league, and I'll find the one that I want. And when I get it, I'll be there forever. But you're not going to give me that platitude that I want. You're not going to give me the opportunity to hire my coach. You're going to want to be involved directly in the hiring of my coach. And this is what you were afraid of. I looked at the names on the list, and I think it was Andreas Pinckney that said Kai Harley, well thought of in the league. That's a Saints front office member.
Okay.
Will McClay, who's basically the GM of the Dallas Cowboys. Samir Suleiman. That's one from inside your own building. I get to a point where I go, I can't help but think you're not learning the lesson here. Because there are 5 steps of inerrant idiocracy in ownership of an NFL franchise. David Tepper just went back to step 2, which is hearkening back to a better time. And that makes me nervous because I've seen guys do this. Jerry Jones does this. He goes in a cycle of his decisions are almost on like this invariable wheel of step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And it never gets better because you keep doing the same thing over again. And like I said, Dan Morgan might be a great GM, but you're starting behind because the perception of this is not good.
The only solace that I can take out of this, the only way that I could be able to convince myself that this is a good idea if I were a Carolina Panthers fan, is to consider the hiring firm, right? You could consider the firm that he hired to go out and do the searches, to find the GM, to find the head coach.
They missed 2.
Maybe not.
I can give you 2 examples off the top of my head. They're both my teams. We brought in 2 search firms to hire GMs. One of them was John Idzik. One of them was Mike McCagnon. Those 2 worst GMs in the history of the franchise. So don't just think because, we hired a hiring firm, that's all right, let's go.
Yeah, I don't. I don't, but I'm saying, you got to jump through hoops to make this make sense. And so if it was who was a Rick Spielman and the guy from the Warriors, his name's gone out of my head. The guys that they
you're
hired.
talking about in Washington.
Isn't that the same firm that Tepper hired?
No.
No?
That's 2 individual guys that Washington brought into.
I thought they were part of the firm. I'm sorry.
No.
I got confused.
No, that's why I was confused.
Oh, that's right. This was the firm that helped hire Sean McVay.
There you go.
In Los Angeles. Okay, I had my teams confused there. Whatever. There's somebody else in the room. Maybe they looked at Dan Morgan and went, he is the guy. He's different enough to make sense.
Bob Myers is who you were talking about.
Bob Myers, thank you. Thank you very much. But again, that was Washington, not Carolina. So
yes.
I strike that.
You took 3 stories and melted them together like starburst on a sidewalk.
I did.
I've been here since 4:16 this morning, so I ain't clicking on all cylinders enough to figure take your conspiracy theory and tie it back to where you were trying to get to.
No, it's the only thing that I can think of is that there was somebody else apparently involved in the scenario. If they signed off on this, then it's on them too. Ultimately, it comes down to David Tepper, and I can't help but think, once again, he has screwed this up at every turn and is going to continue to do so.
Well, and here's the other problem with your everybody else said no theory. It's not like you can come out and tell me that. It's not like you can come out and say, hey, our first 6 options said no.
No.
That's the patent flaw of that, is that nobody will remember it past today. Let's just say that was the truth, and you look at this list and go, well, there's no way we got here without a bunch of no's.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be forgotten by the end of the month. You're not getting platitude if you're Dan Morgan because you are the 7th choice. No, big boy. You're the GM.
Oh, yeah.
It all falls on you starting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope him the best. I've always heard he's a really nice guy.
Mm-hmm. I loved him as a player. I don't know about him as a scout, but
I hated him in college because he played awesome at Miami and he drove me crazy.
Well, I had forgotten about that.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, him and Sean Taylor. I don't remember. I don't remember that fondly. Let's put it that way.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But he was an anchor on that Super Bowl team. The defense was so good, and partly because of him and all he was the Luke Kuechly before Luke Kuechly, right?
And here's the thing, Dan Morgan. Your athleticism and your ability to tackle and all of those things, they don't help you a damn drop right now.
No, they don't.
And this myth that, well, he's a former player, he really gets it. I'm not going to name names. I want to, but I'm not going to. I could give you 5 former players off the top of my head that you could sit down in a room with for 3 minutes and go, do you know anything about this sport? I'm not saying Dan Morgan's one of them, but this blanket, well, we hired a former player, we're in good shape. Yeah, there's a lot of examples that say that that's not true, not even a little bit. And here's what bothers me. Could you not have hired, if you were going to hire a former player and that's what you wanted to do, could you not have gone to Adrian Wilson? Just saying. Just saying.
I don't like it. I don't like it one little bit. It stinks to high heavens one way or the other. Wish him the best. Hope it works out. But I'd bet my house that it don't. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
As the world keeps changing, so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're designed to help protect against recent variants. Learn more about a COVID-19 vaccine option at schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
GiveMeTheVin.com is paying top dollar for your car, truck, sports car, exotic. I told my buyers, let's get them bought. Right now is the time to go.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else, and we can give you access to those potential customers more cost-effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Friday, March 15th, the Orange Peel presents Scott Stapp, lead vocalist and lyricist for Creed. Get your tickets now, online at theorangepeel.net. Don't miss Scott Stapp, live March 15th. See you at the Peel.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
The best season of the year is here.
Tailgate season.
Monster Brewing presents this season's MVP.
The Beast Unleashed.
With 4 bold, familiar flavors.
With 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Beast Unleashed is your new pregame ritual.
With white haze, mean green, peach perfect, and scary berries, there's a flavor for every fan. The Beast Unleashed.
6% alcohol by volume. Unleashed responsibly. Must be 21 or over. Beast Unleashed available at your local retailer.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumbing a bag of hammers.
It's ESPN Asheville. You are in the Sportsocracy. Our one of our resident Carolina Panthers fans, Kevin Vick, in the YouTube comments, he says, I need a house. When I said I'd bet my house that doesn't work.
Tank, I'll be honest with you. I've never seen your house. I've heard it's quite lovely.
It is nice.
But if you ever utter the phrase, you would bet your house, I immediately start going, I do have a house to spare.
Mm-hmm.
And based on your percentages, I like my odds here.
Look, I hope it works out for Carolina Panther fans. But I'm just leery. I'm just leery about it all. He goes on to say that we suck, and it's hard to suck much more. I'm holding judgment until the season starts. Tepper is bad, but at least he's not Jim Irsay. LMAO. I would take a little cocaine-addled weirdness.
I was about to say, you ever hear a fat person call somebody fat and go, bad looking tummy over there, and in your head you're going, you should want their body. I'm not saying you should want Jim Irsay, but I'm thinking it.
100%. I've been thinking, wow, if that's the secret to making some decent moves, like, I don't know, hiring Shane Steichen or drafting Jonathan Taylor or
drafted Andrew Luck,
having Chris Ballard as your GM, anything like that. Maybe we need to get David Tepper some toot, just a little bit.
At Sports Take ESPN, I live by a very simple philosophy of don't do crimes. We have several friends with the Asheville Police Department that would like a word. Dangerous.
I don't know where to get it. I'm just anybody who knows, sure? You should call David and tell him.
Are you sure?
It is the Sportsocracy, and the Carolina Panthers are looking for a coach who is going to take this job. Now that Dan Morgan is the GM, David Tepper, obviously, he's not the easiest to work for, and those who have worked under him have not had the longest tenures.
Well, I mean, let's look at the list of guys that have either been requested or have interviewed.
Okay.
I can eliminate a handful of these off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Callahan has already gone to the Tennessee Titans, which we'll talk about at the top of the next hour as we continue our series of fixing teams, talking about Brian Callahan and fixing the Tennessee Titans. So you can take him out. Chris Tabor, the interim coach, you can take him out. Ajiro Avero, I think you can take him out.
I don't know.
I think you can take him out.
I would be. They went in-house for the GM search. Who knows? They could go in-house for the head coach, too.
I'd be slightly shocked. Brian Johnson, he just got fired from his day job, so I don't think he'll be getting a promotion anytime soon. You take him out. I struggle to believe it's going to be Dan Quinn. I don't know how you're going to sell that. Frankly, I'd rather you hire Ajiro Avero.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get into the two Ravens guys. You're going to have to wait 3 weeks to hire them. I'm not so sure that that's going to happen. I hate to tell you this, but Ben Johnson's the rumors are already circulating that he's going to be the Washington coach the minute the Lions are eliminated.
Mm-hmm. And apparently he's already said no. And the only reason I say that is because Bet Online has a whole list of all the guys who have and their odds for being the next head coach of the Carolina Panthers. There are 15 guys on this list. It goes from plus 200 to 40 to 1 odds. Ben Johnson's name is not on it.
Nope.
That tells you something.
There's a rumor around the league that I can't confirm, but I'll just go out on a limb and say it's not Ben Johnson.
Yep.
That pushes you down to basically Bobby Slowick, Frank Smith, Raheem Morris, or Dave Canales.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I think about this, the more Dave Canales makes a whole mess of sense.
Because at some point, it becomes everybody's dream job, right? Every coach in football, if you have higher aspirations, you want to climb the ladder, your ultimate goal is NFL head coach. At some point, there's a guy for every job. That's how in demand this business is, right? So as much as we say nobody wants this job, somebody's going to want this job.
And I always look when you hire a GM of, man, is there anybody that you had a whole lot of overlap with? Do you know how long Dan Morgan and Dave Canales were with the Seahawks together?
Oh, it's probably good 5 years.
7 years.
7 years.
And weird, the day that you hired Dan Morgan, it comes out that you've requested a second interview with Dave Canales.
Mm-hmm. And he seems to be a little quarterback whispery, right? He revamped Geno Smith last year as the quarterback's coach in Seattle. And then he goes to Tampa Bay. And now, look, Baker Mayfield may be getting $40 bajillion next year.
Yeah.
So
I'm never going to hear that. I'm never going to hear that phrase and not laugh.
So why would this not make sense, right? Dave Canales to come in and be the quarterback whisperer, to be the guy to build Bryce Young into the number one pick that you wanted him to be when you drafted him last year. It could make a whole lot of sense. The name at the top of the odds, though, with the fewest odds, is that the way to say that? Plus 200, top of the list, is Mike Vrabel. Now, I've been thinking that Seattle makes all the sense in the world to me for Mike Vrabel. Divine Comedy, our Seattle Seahawks insider, has said that the Seahawks are hot on Raheem Morris and Patrick Graham. They loved Graham, he says, and thought that he was a football savant. Schneider's adoration is the worst-kept secret in town. So they may be pulling away from the Mike Vrabel sweepstakes.
I don't know that they were ever in it.
I thought, didn't they line him up immediately?
Well, lining him up doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the sweepstakes. I'm less convinced that Mike Vrabel's a coach in the NFL next year than I've ever been. Because I've heard not exactly the same thing he just said, but pretty close.
Yeah. So
there's that. I think it's going to end up being Dave Canales with the Carolina Panthers, and I don't think it's a terrible hire. You're betting the house on a guy that has a really good track record with quarterbacks, and it's an actual really good track record with quarterbacks. The only thing that scared me is I could have said the same thing about Brian Johnson a year ago.
Is it though? I mean, because he was in Seattle, so he had Russell Wilson,
who was a competent, high-level NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm. But was that because of Russell or was that because of Dave?
Well, it's weird. As soon as Dave went away, it stopped. I mean, I hate to go Hurricane Rock here, but Canales, it seems like every quarterback that Dave Canales goes away from all of a sudden craters to the earth. As Russell Wilson went to Denver and never looked like a good NFL quarterback again.
Very true.
With Nathaniel Hackett and with Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Geno Smith, Dave Canales leaves, and Baker Mayfield had been the turd in the punch bowl for 6 years. Best season he had in his life was with Dave Canales.
True.
That's a whole lot of ironic.
But Russell had been regressing before that. So I don't know if it's necessarily Hurricane Rock, but
regressing,
I see what you're saying.
Cratering into the ocean?
No.
Yeah, that didn't happen until he got away from it.
Absolutely not. So, all right. You would bet your house on Dave Canales right now?
I'm
or at
not
least
going
a hefty
that far.
wager.
I would put a pretty good wager on it.
The others in the running here, as far as the odds go, plus 300 for Kellen Moore,
Tepper's always had he's always had a big Penix energy about Kellen Moore. That I'm not telling you I understand it. I've always heard that.
Bobby Slowick is at +4.
Slowick has something else lined up. I have a funny feeling.
And then you got Mike McDonald +500, but you'll have to wait until Baltimore wins the Super Bowl for that.
I don't think Baltimore's losing either of their coordinators.
And then Todd Monken at 11-1. And it may be that thing that you can't afford to wait that long, but you've waited this long. Why not wait another one?
Oh, I can answer that. It's where I'm headed next week. The 2024 Races Senior Bowl.
Dan Morgan can scout all those players. I don't need a coach for that.
Well, it really helps if you know what scheme you're running. That'd just be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. Wouldn't that be sweet? I do find it funny that we're waiting longer and longer to hire coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's not necessarily a bad thing. The NFL's got the schedule pretty well on lock. They're pretty good at this ratings thing. And after the break, I'll tell you just how good. And if you're like me, you're going to hear this number and go, that has to be fake. It's not, and I checked it. I checked my list 2 times.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Gray sky will stick with us right into the afternoon, and really, like I mentioned this morning, maybe some patchy areas of rain, most of it light, and again, patchy. Tonight, still that chance of rain, a little bit better after midnight, 43, but nothing steady or heavy. Could have a brief round of rain tomorrow in the morning, then showers in the afternoon. Patchy fog, 55. Better chance, I think, of showers on Thursday. Showers are likely, and highs will be in the low 60s. For the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer. As the world keeps changing, so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're designed to help protect against recent variants. Learn more about a COVID-19 vaccine option at schedulecovidvax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you right now, like Alt2K, a commercial-free look back to alternative from the 2000s. Just search Alt2K and listen now on your free iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine, and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
It is ESPN Asheville. You are in the Sportsocracy, and man, the NFL They really ticked off a lot of people with that whole Peacock playoff game thing.
Oh yeah, they were so incensed. Oh, this is gonna pair nicely with my story.
Now, are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Because the dumpster is about to catch fire. Because now the WWE is going to require everyone who wants to watch Monday Night Raw have Netflix. And I can't wait to see just all of the wrestling fans out there lose their ever-loving minds.
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard for them to pay for that subscription without a credit card because most of them are 12.
Yeah.
I want to watch Roman Reigns win again.
A deal that the Hollywood Reporter pegs at 10 years, valued at $5 billion. Netflix is now going to have Monday Night Raw streaming live.
Teacher, I have a question. Is Netflix laundering money from like some drug cartel? Where the hell are you getting all your money? We pay like $6 a month for this. Okay, $5 billion is like your net worth. And I think you've spent that on 3 movies in the last year. Make that make sense to me.
Netflix is big business, man.
That's like somebody coming in with the big belt buckle and a diamond watch and the Louis Vuitton shades, and you ask them, what do you do? I'm a garbage man. Oh, you're working one of them union jobs, ain't you? I know, and you know that I know.
I thought you were throwing us back to the JBL era on that one.
No,
the big belt buckle, the cowboy hat.
Netflix is one of those things I'll never understand.
Why?
I don't get how you're making your money to throw it around like this. Like they spent $300 million making a movie.
Mm-hmm.
How did you incentivize that? So you spent $300 million to make a movie. Nobody kicked in your service to watch the movie. You don't sell ads. I mean, maybe it's the old school marketing guy in me just going, you realize you're screwing this up, right? Like, you get it.
I think they're doing okay. If they've got $5 billion to throw at Raw, I'm pretty sure they're doing just fine. Now, the biggest question out of this that I had was, of course, what's going to happen to my treasure trove of old school WWE material on the Peacock. And that, I'm proud to say at the moment, that's not going anywhere. So Peacock still got their share of the WWE. They'll have all of the stuff still on the Peacock app, and they'll have all of the premium shows. Not that they're not called pay-per-views anymore. It's the premium events are all still going to be on Peacock. And then you've got Fox with SmackDown, and now Raw goes to Netflix. I know a lot of wrestling fans, and I know a lot of backwoods wrestling fans, and they are not going to be pleased with this at all.
Can't wait for the first Monday right now. Wow! The wrestling's on! Can't make the TV box work!
I gotta be sure and call my father-in-law, because he always likes to sit down on Monday nights and watch his quote-unquote stories. Yes, he calls them his stories, like some, housewife calls the soap operas in the middle of the day. He's now going to have to use my login for to watch.
Well, you can't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right. They cracked that.
Yeah.
They cracked down on that.
Yeah. And here's the thing: you have to be pretty tech savvy to beat that. Ask my parents how much they pay for Netflix a month. I dare you.
But I mean, now we've got the NFL do a playoff game. Now you got Raw going. What is the next sports thing that's going to go streaming only?
NASCAR. They have a new thing coming out on Netflix that I'm actually interested to watch.
Oh, the new show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's gonna be good.
Everybody should have a show. Because here's the thing, your show on Netflix is way more watchable than your sport. And I'm looking at baseball, basketball, NASCAR, not football.
Not football.
If it's not football, you fall in line with that.
Although, quarterback series did very well.
You also said that Netflix seems to have a lot of money.
Yes.
Because they had $5 billion to throw around.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Jones had enough to buy a country. Doesn't mean you were not cooking some books. Just throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Andreas Pinkney also said it's kind of like Barney from How I Met Your Mother. Hey, Barney, what do you do for a living? Please. Provide legal expertise and sign everything. Please. My story is about the NFL, and I'm going to start with the Lions and the Buccaneers. Tank, you're bad at the ratings game.
Yes.
Would you care to take a stab at the average number of viewers on Peacock and NBC watching your Buccaneers and the Lions? By the way, 2 of the 10 least popular teams in the league.
Oh, I would go 27 million?
Way too low. 40 million was the average.
Holy smokes.
It peaked at 49.1.
Yikes.
Right at 6 o'clock.
That's a lot.
Right as the final drive was starting.
Okay.
It's the highest viewed divisional playoff game since 1994 between the Chiefs and the Oilers. And it held that title for exactly 3 hours. Because now I ask you the same thing about the Chiefs and the Bills.
Oh, the average viewership on that, it's got to be higher.
Oh, I just told you that.
So I'd go.
Good job, Columbo. I'm glad you got there.
45?
50. It averaged 50 million viewers.
Wow.
And peaked at over 56 million.
It's a pretty good number.
Now, if you're not a ratingsman, which let me give you a little point of comparison. The NBA Finals last year combined for 48 million viewers. In 5 games. And you could be counted 5 times. 5 times. That's still not as many as watch Bills Chiefs. You want to know how this is what we talk about? That's why. That's why. You don't watch anything else except for the finals. That's it. Go look at the ratings and how many of the top 100 were NFL games. I think it was 86 of the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
3 more were college basketball games. 5 more were college football games. And then you get the Oscars in there. I don't know who you people are that are watching the Oscars.
Only 2 of them were like non-sports events. One of them was the State of the Union. And I think the other one was the Oscars.
Yeah. You notice the State of the Union just keeps going further and further down the rankings.
Oh, yeah. Who cares?
I mean, how many times do I have to listen to somebody go, in my day, oh, I pooped. How many times do I need to listen to that before I go, I'm good. I'll pass. That's the second time I've gotten him today. I take that as a personal victory.
Good for you. There's big changes coming in Philadelphia.
As there should be.
There will be a press conference later today or maybe during this program. It was some point scheduled for today that, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni going to have the press conference to let you know that Nick Sirianni's job here to stay, at least for now. But he'll be moving on without both of the coordinators. So for the second year in a row, both of the coordinators going to be gone. Philadelphia Eagles, though, celebrating it this time. Sean Desai, defensive coordinator, he was let go yesterday. And then they have now decided that offensive coordinator Brian Johnson, he's gone as well.
And Pat Matricia, we didn't have to tell you. We just assumed that you already knew. He will not be retained either.
Okay.
So far, the only candidate on the defensive side I've heard was Ron Rivera, and I don't ask for much. I'm so simple. I want that to happen so bad.
I have no nice words to say about that. I mean, maybe he can lead a defense still. Well, here's the thing. I want somebody, if I'm keeping Nick Sirianni, I want a smart former head coach to be in there with him. And I'm not sure that's Ron Rivera.
Well, you don't have a ton of options.
I get it. But you are the best.
Because the name I started hearing circulated yesterday was Brandon Staley, and I went, oh, crap. I don't know which one of these I want more. Because you get Nick Sirianni and Brandon Staley and a dumb glare out into the world off. Oh, my Lord. That's 6 to midnight right there. Just do either two. Give me a thought running through either two of their minds right now. Yep.
Just that blank stare off into space.
It's the 100-mile stare.
You can't do that.
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah.
Look, do you think it's the right call to keep Sirianni?
No.
I'm not as convinced of that. And here's why I say that. Who you go get?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's say you did fire Sirianni. I mean, and look, he would deserve it. I'm not telling you he didn't deserve it. Who'd you go get? You think Bobby Slowick's signing up for Jalen Hurts? Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you he's not.
He'd be better than
Watch
some
that
of the other
offense on
options he
tape.
could have.
Watch that offense on tape. That's one time I'll cut you off before you even say that.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts is less able to run a Bobby Slowick offense than I am to run the New York Marathon. And I would die actually still inside of where I started.
Okay.
That's a horrid fit. Same thing with Ben Johnson.
Okay.
You're just asking a guy to do something that he's not. That's not what you're built to do. And that's where I got to with Sirianni. Like, what are we going to do here? Kelvin Joyner said Mike Vrabel. That's the one name that I kept coming to. The only problem is that everything I've been told is that he would bring Arthur Smith with him as the OC.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not so sure how much I love that fit. And it gets down
With
this
Jalen
rabbit hole.
Hurts at quarterback, is he not fit for that system? He's a mobile quarterback.
In terms of style of play, he's way more Desmond Ridder than he is Ryan Tannehill, and that didn't go well. I understand Jalen Hurts is a way better quarterback. I'm not saying he's not. That was more of a broad strokes approach to the type of quarterback. Because Desmond Ridder was more of a runner. Ryan Tannehill was more of a, hey, I can run if you ask me to. If you dare me to run, I'll run on you. But what I'm actually going to do is play action off this run and just drub you down. With a mid I'm resisting the urge to get really like inside baseball breakdown film here.
Right.
I just couldn't. And I looked at the Philadelphia job going, I can't find one that makes all that much sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get back to Sirianni went to a Super Bowl a year ago. And if you're that impatient, nobody with options is going to look at because you already got to deal with Philly fans who are, we'll say you're a bit of a chore.
It's a tough decision to make.
Some of you, not
right? And Howie Roseman's already had to make this decision once. Remember, he moved on from Doug Peterson, and we all went, what is happening? That guy just made a Super Bowl, just won a Super Bowl. Not made it, won it. And they let him go because of problems, I guess out of their control. Why would this not be the same scenario? And do you not have the same platitude to go, look, I did this once. We can do it again.
Oh, I mean, he has
guy.
The platitude to do it.
That's
not the question I'm asking.
He's not the guy anymore. It's time to move on.
I've said this poorly. I'm not saying he doesn't have the platitude to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about where does this end? All right, you fire Sirianni. Who is jumping up and down? Because these are really high expectations with a roster that is not. It doesn't look nearly as appetizing as it did 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it looks just fine if you didn't let, what you saw this year under bad leadership ruin Jalen Hurts for you.
Okay, so conversely, Jalen Hurts has now become real expensive. And this was just me playing devil's advocate. Jalen Hurts just got real expensive. It's a complete teardown of the coaching staff, and now this is the second time in 6 years that a coach has been fired a year after taking you to the Super Bowl. Maybe there's no pleasing you. That's
Could
the
be.
Devil's advocate side of me.
It very well could be.
Maybe that's what you wanted, but I feel like you got inside that room and went, we can't do this again.
Mm-hmm.
We can do it, but we can't do it.
And that's the other side of that coin of, yeah, we've done this already, but we've done this already. Do we want to push that envelope? Do we want to try to do it again and replace this guy? I think there are better coaches that you could find on the market. Hell, I'll go back to that list that I had earlier of all the Panthers guys. There's probably 7 guys on there that I would entertain as typical or as quality replacements for Nick Sirianni. I've never felt like he's anything special.
I don't disagree with you.
This is his last shot, though.
That's where I fall in.
This little press conference is going to happen today. Rah, rah, we're all behind Nick, and Nick's going to get us there. If he does this again next year, and this team is not competing for a Super Bowl, they get embarrassed like they did this past year at the end of the season, he's done. There's no coming back. You had one more shot, and that's the thing that might make me feel iffy about not doing it now. Okay, so I'm going to go out and hire an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, and if this doesn't work, then we're right back in the same boat next year. Only this time I'm hiring 3 new guys instead of just 2 new guys. It's a lot to think about. Do you trust the front office in Philadelphia?
Yes.
I do. So I think you should. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
I'm super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with the advanced cleaning of Zero Raz. Take advantage of their New Year's sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention ESPN Asheville, you'll get a hallway clean for free. Schedule online at ZeroRazAsheville.com.
Over 50,000 police officers are assaulted each year. Help police by not escalating. Address any complaints after the encounter. Comply now, complain later. Keep everybody safe. This message brought to you by the National Police Association. Learn more at nationalpolice.org.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Depression won't show up on an eye chart, and you won't find PTSD by looking at a thermometer. Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment. Anxiety won't just go away under a bandage. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
This is Carolina basketball.
2-on-1. Baycott finishes the transition hammer. R.J. Davis, he's going to try a quick 3. Yes, from the right sideline.
On the Tar Heels Sports Network.
Ends up to Baycott, and he gets the run out. Two-handed flush. Carolina, it's Davis. He's fouled, and give him it.
This is your radio home for the Tar Heels.
Asheville's home for the Tar Heels is ESPN Asheville.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
At Ingalls, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Not only does it ensure that you get top-quality, fresh items for your family table, it's a way for us to support the amazing individuals who pour their heart and soul into delivering the very best they can do. Quality, freshness, community, it's all in the bag. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
All right, you're back in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. I almost used the breaking news for this. Sad, sad day. Breaking news out of Athens, Georgia.
Oh, God.
Ugga 10 has died. The winningest mascot in Georgia history has passed away. He was a damn good dog. Rest in peace, Ugga. Back to the...
if you had used breaking news for that, I swear to God, I'd have thrown something.
Hey, it'd have been better for using breaking news for your KFC chicken sandwich the other day. So
that chicken sandwich moved me. Okay, I really thought you were going to go with Scott Stapp was coming to the Orange Field because
no, I'll let you have that.
I'm going to that one too.
I'll let you have that, but you got to give me Ugga.
Going to Creed in Nashville, going to Scott Stapp here. I'm not calling it the year of Jeremy. The last time I did that, woof.
Didn't go well. Weren't too good. You ought not do that. 4 plays in. Yikes. Yeah, the NFL numbers, obviously, they tell you what you're watching, right? And the majority of the country is watching all of these games.
I want to
highs
see
for divisional playoff games. And what do you want to see?
I want to see if the Senior Bowl next Saturday beats an NBA regular season game.
Oh, you got a chance at that.
No doubt.
You definitely have a chance. Maybe if that regular season game was the Hornets and the Spurs from the other night, it might be beat that number. But I'm going to say no. I mean, do you have any historical numbers on what that game does? Because I will be surprised if it's more than 1.5 million, 2 million people.
Well, it's on NFL Network, which greatly impacts that number.
Yeah. But it's just also one of those things that the average fan just doesn't care. Because not only is this guys that are not in the league yet, but it's guys that I don't even know if they're going to be eligible to be on my team or around for my team. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I'd say they're going to be eligible. Every single one of them was drafted last year. So.
They'll be eligible, yes. But you know what I mean. Like, why am I watching this to pick out one guy that might be on my team? The average fan is not that interested.
And by the way, the average it's roughly 1 million.
Okay, so there you go.
Average NBA playoff game on NBA TV. Let's talk about that rating.
Oh, is that average like 2 million?
On NBA TV?
Oh, on
You're
NBA
lucky if
TV.
it averaged 20,000.
Okay.
You're lucky if more people don't watch this show than watch a game on NBA TV.
I don't even know how
and
to
God
get
forbid
that.
you put the G League on it. You're lucky to get the friends and family eyeballs at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I know I get it because I have DC Streams and they have everything that you would need. You can contact us for more details on that. But I never turned on the NBA TV.
Yeah, NBA TV could nonstop run a Pamela Anderson, Tommy Lee tape that we all know what I'm talking about. They could do that for 6 months. I would have absolutely no idea. Wouldn't know where to find it if I found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly wouldn't just be perusing it to say, hey, you know what I want to watch tonight? A regular season game between the Pelicans and the Jazz.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville coming up in the next hour. Top of the hour after this next break, we're going to be discussing the hire by the Tennessee Titans, getting Brian Callahan from the Cincinnati Bengals.
And there are so many tentacles to this that make me like it so much.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy will talk about all of the tentacles coming up at the top of the hour here. And then we will have the daily draft today, where we will we'll get into who's going to be next year's Lions. That could be interesting. The team that missed the playoffs this year that will make the playoffs and maybe make a run.
And I have to extend something that I heard Eddie Fox do this morning. I was helping him with some things during the morning show this morning, and he asked a question that I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
If you have more than one platypus, is it platypuses? Is it platypussin? Or is it a flock of platypus?
I'm going with platypi.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm. Think on it. We'll get your answer coming up next here on the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Gray sky will stick with us right into the afternoon, and really, like I mentioned this morning, maybe some patchy areas of rain, most of it light, and again, patchy. Tonight, still that chance of rain, a little bit better after midnight, 43, but nothing steady or heavy. Could have a brief round of rain tomorrow in the morning, then showers in the afternoon. Patchy fog, 55. Better chance, I think, of showers on Thursday. Showers are likely, and highs will be in the low 60s. For the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic.
Don't miss out on limited-time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowes.com for details.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-374-2103. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-374-2103 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's bonus. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from your friends at ESPN Asheville.
The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls studio.
It is ESPN Asheville, and you are listening to the Sportsocracy. 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400, and everywhere you go around the world on the iHeartRadio app. You can see us live in the Ingalls studio on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, and that way you can join us in the chat.
For the next handful of days, you're actually going to be able to see us nonstop because it's going to be nothing but mock drafts, live streams, Senior Bowl profiles. If you want to know something about the NFL draft, you know what? Just show up and ask me the question. I'll probably record a video of it. I think I'm just going to hook up a microphone to my phone and tape my life.
3-round mock drafts. We were filming those earlier in the day, so those are going to start coming out ASAP.
At 3 o'clock.
Yep.
New England Patriots.
Right after the show, we'll have the AFC East teams and the AFC North teams coming out first. So, lock it into the Sportsocracy for all of your Draftmas season content.
And these are short, not overly produced, and as we go on, they will get longer and more produced.
The Tennessee Titans, they have made a choice for their next head football coach after firing Mike Vrabel in what I thought was the shock of the offseason. I didn't think there was a chance that Mike Vrabel was going to be on the chopping block, but Amy Adams Strunk, the owner, apparently saw an opportunity to bring in some new life, and I think they got this right. Brian Callahan, to me, was one of the top candidates for a head coaching job in this league, and I want that guy calling the shots on my offense.
Well, and there's more to it. It's not just he's calling the shots. It's also that you have to look at the Tennessee Titans have one of the best cap ledgers in the league. Who's the number one free agent on the market? Tee Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
I have a funny feeling I know where his first visit's going to be. A team that, well, they use a real true number one receiver. It would be awful nice to have Tee Higgins as a 1A and DeAndre Hopkins as a 1B.
Mm-hmm.
Chigga Okonkwo is your tight end. You're, I believe, rolling with Tajay Spears. Kind of speaks to it when Derrick Henry comes out and has an impromptu farewell press conference at the end of your final game. I think you knocked it out of the park. I released a reel earlier on our social medias that I can't give this any grade but A+. I was locked into Bobby Slowick because I really thought Brian Callahan was going to end up with the Panthers. And I never really thought about him in Tennessee. And then the more I thought about it, the more I started to like it.
Mm-hmm. Question is, are they going to build him a winner? Are they going to build him a winner that has good protection for the quarterback? That was something that he couldn't find in Cincinnati, as much as he wanted it anyway, right? Joe Burrow was one of the most hit quarterbacks in the league.
He is, and they've had pieces. It's just, it's never been a full unit.
Mm-hmm.
You've counted way too much on Cordell Volson. But, I mean, even if you look at Tennessee, all right, Nick Petit-Frere was playing on the left side, which is a horrifically bad idea. But, I mean, play on the right. You got Peter Skoronski. If you make a move on Tee Higgins, because the NFL, unlike the NBA, is smart and has their free agency before their draft, I will number one thing I don't understand in sports. That's a story for another day. But, I mean, just think about it. If you pursue Tee Higgins and you're able to lock that down, you don't have to take Rome Odunze in the top 10. You can take another receiver later on because receiver is stacked. Then you take that left tackle, you put him next to Peter Skoronski, and then you look at that line and go, that ain't half bad. That ain't half bad. I've got weapons, and I really believe in Will Levis.
Skoronski, no doubt, a guard?
To me, yes.
Okay.
That was always kind of his – I thought he could play right tackle, and I was open to the idea because of Rashawn Slater. Well, I mean, this year kind of showed me with Rashawn Slater. No. He's a really good right tackle. Don't be shocked if that's where he's playing next year. I know that sounds insane, but you go back and watch the tape, and I won't be shocked if a new coach comes in there and goes right side.
Okay. Evan Doyle says tag and trade.
That's where I think it goes with Higgins. You can't lose him for nothing, but I also don't know that you can afford to sign him. The problem with the tag and trade, and it doesn't happen very often for a reason, is that now you're giving up premium capital for the opportunity to sign a guy to a really high-end contract. If it's a tag and trade, I will be shocked if you get anything back more than the third-round comp pick that you would have gotten in the first place. That's fine. You get it a year early. But I can't see it not being Tennessee. And it's the more down the rabbit hole with Tennessee I've gone. We got a lot of pushback when I said when we were ranking the jobs. And I didn't give a lot of credence to Tennessee because I felt like they had a long way to go. And the more I've thought about it, they do. And they're in a really tough division. But it's not as bad as I thought. They still have pieces. You just have to tie it all together. And I really believe in Rand Carthon. You have a ton of money. I think you just killed this hire. Now I'm curious to see what the staff looks like.
As am I. Where are you going to go on the defensive side?
I always want to see that defense coordinated by a former head coach. Or a former longtime coordinator. Just maybe not like Jack Del Rio or Ron Rivera. We could not do that.
The same recycled names that we've seen over and over again. It's Brandon Staley comes to mind.
Yeah, I don't want to see that either.
Yeah, it's going to be a long shot to see him get a job immediately. But
he'll get a job. I just don't think it's as a coordinator. If I'm Brian Callahan, I'm looking at, hey, Carolina, are you hiring Ajiro Avero? Because if you're not, I would love to have a word. Because his scheme fits the system, and I don't have to have a real overhaul on the defense. Because, look, the defense has players. Azeez Al-Shahir is one of my favorite players in this league. I think I've said that 5 times in the last 6 weeks. Jeffrey Simmons is a dog. And I know he's getting a little longer in the tooth, which, yes, I do understand how funny that is to say about a guy that I think is 29.
I think you're right.
Oh, no, he's 26.
26.
Good God, he's been in this league a long time for a guy.
Feels
26.
like it, yeah. No, yeah.
As soon as I said that, I went, I think he's one of those guys that I think is older than he is.
Tennessee's not bereft of talent. If you're able to pull this off and get Tee Higgins somehow, that solves a big problem. Because I feel better about that. If you had Tee Higgins, DeAndre Hopkins, and then Treylon Burks can just, he'll be your solid 3 option. Could be shaky 3 option at sometimes.
I think he's a fine 3.
But you've got pieces.
No doubt. The biggest thing is you've got to get the weapons for Levis, and you've got to shore up that offensive line. And where you're picking at 7, you're guaranteed there is no possibility that 2 of the 5 names I'm getting ready to say are not sitting there. Joe Alt, Ola Fashanu, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. It's physically impossible that 2 of them aren't there. And Marvin Harrison Jr. ain't going to be one of them. I was trying to point. The other 4, I won't be shocked if they're all 4 there, to be really honest with you. Be nominally surprised if the Giants passed on all of them. But if the Chargers did, am I going to be shocked? No.
Mm.
And you give another toy to Will Levis, I don't think it's untoward to think that Tennessee could be a pain to deal with next year. Do I think you're going to make the playoffs? No, because you're in the AFC. And the AFC is a murderer's row, and it's going to continue to be. I said this yesterday. There's 2 teams in the AFC that I know definitively right now are not playoff teams next year.
Right. It was New England, and who was the other one?
Well, let's see. It was New England and Tennessee.
In Tennessee. Okay.
I don't think you can grow that much in a year. Can you be competitive? Absolutely. I just don't see a way that in a division with Jacksonville, Houston, and Indianapolis, I would be targeting not this upcoming year, but the following year. My goal is to get to 7-8 wins this year, kind of like what we talked about with Indianapolis. And who knows, maybe you surprise me. Maybe Will Levis is way better than we think. That's saying a lot about for me, too. John Carmen said, bring in Rex Ryan. I'd make that call tomorrow.
To be the DC?
100%. If I'm Brian Callahan and Rex Ryan shows an interest in being my defensive coordinator, let's go. Now, somebody got to watch a Rex Ryan defense, you just enjoy that because it's really the high water mark of my time as a Jet fan.
It's a lot of fun to watch. Okay. How good can Brian Callahan be for Will Levis?
I think
that is a great question because we saw him. We've seen him with Joe Burrow, which I mean that's Joe Burrow. He's a different kind of cat, right? We feel like there's a big difference in the talent there between Joe Burrow and Will Levis. I keep going back to the Jake Browning experiment at the end of this season. How good Jake Browning looked at times. Could that be that they just struck gold and got somebody late in the draft? Sure. Could be. Or is it the scheme? Or is it the scheme and the coaching that made him better? The weapons obviously made him better, so if Brian can bring in weapons, Tee Higgins we've already mentioned, then maybe that's the path for Will Levis.
Well, I mean, scheme goes a long way in this league. And if you don't believe me, just look at the Baltimore Ravens. Greg Roman didn't get you to this point for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the same pieces. You added Zay Flowers, and you added Todd Monken. In large part, everything else is the exact same. You look dominant right now because you found a way to grow out the passing game, and you kept the ability to just run it down people's throats. And Tennessee has the makings of being able to do that. I like Tajay Spears a lot. I liked him a lot last year in the draft process. Frankly, I didn't see anything from this year that really changed my mind. It was just shocking to see him get as many carries over Derrick Henry as he did. Or play as many snaps. I shouldn't say get as many carries. He played a ton of snaps. And I think you're fine. I just keep coming back to you're in the AFC. If Tennessee was in the NFC, hell, you might be in the Super Bowl next year. That's how little I believe in the NFC.
You could be a division winner in the South.
I'm not sure they couldn't have been a division winner in the South this year. with Mike Vrabel and the ghost of an offensive line that you had.
Stop.
It's so cute. He's just adorable. He doesn't understand his team would have been 4-13 in every other division in the NFL. Anyway, the big part of this is what we haven't talked about yet, is that this is one of the more intriguing free agency classes that I have seen in a long time because you're not going to be able to keep all these guys. You got too many teams that are killed against the cap that have big-time free agents. And there's one team in the NFL that has more money than the Titans. So
Okay.
You go Tee Higgins and another piece. I'm talking another Pro Bowl high-level piece if that's how you choose to do this. The only thing you got to remember in Tennessee is that you basically have a 3-year window here with Levis. Of you're either going to figure out he's the guy or he's not going to be the guy. Because he, like Jalen Hurts, will come up a year earlier than the first-round quarterbacks do.
Yep. I thought it was a great hire. Brian Callahan, I mean, he obviously comes from good stock, right? Comes from a football family. He's had great success with the Cincinnati Bengals. Did he have outstanding weapons at his disposal? Absolutely. Did that make him look better than maybe he is? Possibly. But you're not going to know that until he gets his shot. And this was one of the this is one of the jobs that you wanted to see an offensive brain go to. A team that's building something for the future, and they've got a young quarterback to work with. I think they absolutely killed the hire.
I do too, and I'm interested to see what the staff looks like. After the break, we will talk about some free agents that Tennessee could chase, and we'll give you a 3-round mock draft because that's what we do when we fix teams around here because we're a draft show and a football show. And we sprinkle in the other things and little jokes and little politics just to make the yucks.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Shop the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Valid 1/4/24 to 1/24/24. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
This is Carolina basketball.
2-on-1. Baycott finishes the transition hammer. R.J. Davis, he's going to try a quick three. Yes, from the right sideline.
On the Tar Heels Sports Network.
Ends up to Baycott, and he gets the run out. Two-handed flush. Carolina, it's Davis. He's fouled, and give him it.
This is your radio home for the Tar Heels.
Asheville's home for the Tar Heels is ESPN Asheville.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-374-2103. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-374-2103 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Alt 2K. Don't wanna be an American idiot. A commercial-free look back to alternative from the 2000s. With Foo Fighters, Weezer, Linkin Park, Green Day, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and more. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Alt 2K, and listen now. Try something new for 2024. iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio! Free never sounded so good.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
At Ingalls, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Not only does it ensure that you get top quality fresh items for your family table, it's a way for us to support the amazing individuals who pour their heart and soul into delivering the very best they can do. Quality, freshness, community, it's all in the bag. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
Back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Cam Newton, Bill Belichick reunited. What is this? I'm talking in the YouTube chat about a reunion in Atlanta. Oh, he was on So Cam was apparently on Good Morning Football today, and he said that he would never leave Atlanta and that he could definitely see joining forces with Bill Belichick once again to play quarterback.
Yeah,
in the NFL.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Bill's last ride's not going to be with Cam Newton playing quarterback. Just a belief.
No. Interesting.
We have a first Super Chat of the day.
All right, Super Chat time.
Soaring Eagle said, we're going to talk about the report that Belichick and Atlanta's CEO hate each other and how that's turning Bill away from the job. I have heard the report that you're referencing. I cannot verify it, for one. For two, I don't see another path for Bill to continue coaching. I'm 99.9% sure I know who Washington's next coach is. I'm 99.9% sure I know who the Chargers' next coach is. I don't see another opening. And I also don't see Bill sitting out for a year. If he sits out for a year, for some reason in my head, that just means he's done. Are you in the same boat?
Yes.
So, I mean, he can hate a lot of people. I don't think that's keeping him away from Atlanta. If they're willing to give him the job, I have a funny feeling he's going to be the next head coach.
I would agree. I mean, although Bill taking a year off and then next year he announces that he's ready to come back to football, of course somebody's jumping in that line.
Well, nobody but Atlanta's jumped in this year.
That's very true. It's very true.
Team that didn't hop into that fray, the Tennessee Titans. It's a segue.
Yeah, it's what you do. It's what you do. Brian Callahan is the choice. He is the next head coach there with the Tennessee Titans. And how are they going to build a winner?
Well, I look at the roster, and there's so much of it that I like. I don't love your corners, and they got just deep fried all year long, which makes me think that if Jalen Johnson were to get to the market, I'm going to have to make the call. You're going to have to tell me no, because they're other than him and L'Jarius Sneed, and I don't think Sneed is going to make it to the market.
I wouldn't imagine.
And the only problem is they got him and Chris Jones, and you've only got one tag. So that could be problematic. Also, look at L'Jarius Sneed and go, you should be pretty comfortable where you are because this scheme fits you so well. And if Sneed were to be re-signed, I mean, then you're starting to get into like Kendall Fuller. I'm good. And this is such a bad corner class in the draft because there's just not high-end guys. I mean, you got Cooper DeJean, you got Kool-Aid McKinstry. There's just nobody that'll look at and go, that's a lockdown corner. That's a no-doubt number one guy. So I feel like that's where you would start with spending your money. I mean, your pie in the sky is Chris Jones makes it because Chris Jones and Justin Simmons in the front of and they both went to Mississippi State. So.
You definitely be able to get after quarterbacks.
No doubt.
With Shahir coming behind them and
with
Harold
Landry.
Landry. Oh, yeah. That would be brutal.
I mean, but then again, I also look at the offensive tackles or the receivers, like we said with Tee Higgins. I don't think Mike Evans is going to look at this team and be super interested, but Michael Pittman might.
Mm-hmm.
And staying in the division, we know how much guys love doing that because you have a familiarity with everybody that you're playing against. I feel like Tennessee is going to walk out of free agency with two high-end free agents that fill two high-end needs. And whether it's Jalen Johnson and one of the receivers or an offensive tackle, whatever that is that's going to tell you exactly where they're going in the first round. Because you have to come out of those – because they only have a first and second round pick. You have to come out of those two picks with a tackle and a wide receiver tied with free agency. That's the two biggest needs on the team.
Yep.
Just so happens that the world is your oyster, and you're going to have access to every single one of them. Not named Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm. And we thought at first look that maybe this would be a job that some would turn their nose up at. But there's a lot of flexibility here because there is a lot of talent on this team. And you seem to have the buy-in from an owner willing to give you the platitude to turn this into a winner, right? Amy Adams Strunk, I don't believe, win at this and goes, you turn this into a playoff team in 2 years or you're out of here.
I would agree with that. I think I feel like she looked at this team and said, we're doing things in a way that no winner is doing things. I feel like she looked around the NFL landscape and went, our best offensive piece for the last 7 years has been a running back. Mm-hmm. Those days have gone the way of the dodo bird. And we've been mediocre at quarterback, and we haven't done a good job of investing in the offensive line, and all of those things have to stop right now.
Yes. And that's why the decision came in to fire Mike Vrabel. And then, you can say it was just that we came to a fork in the road.
I'll tell you a funny story about the Titans. Mm-hmm. 2024 cap ledger, they have 5 guys on the entire roster that make more than $5.5 million. That's flexibility that you just don't see in this league very often, and Tennessee has it. Mm-hmm. This is not nearly as hopeless as I feel like it was made out to be.
Well, it's hard not to feel hopeless when you see a 6-11 season, right? You see things have gone this way. There's 2 losing seasons in a row, regardless of what you blame that on, whether it be Mike Vrabel's coaching abilities or whether it be the scheme or the fact that they gave away their best player in a draft day trade or whatever you want to blame it on.
Well, I mean, you can go a long way back on Tennessee. John Robinson was thought to be some wonderkind, and it didn't take long for you to figure out, man, you don't draft well at all. Then the A.J. Brown trade basically just sealed his death certificate. I would say, how did you get here? I think Vrabel was more of it than people want to say. Not because I think he's a bad coach, because I hate his coaching style. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel like it works in the NFL. You've got to be able to score points, and defensively, you can't be terrible. But, I mean, Detroit's pretty terrible in the back half. But they can score points. Mm-hmm. And they're here. In the AFC, you got to be pretty balanced. You got to be able to score and be able to stop people from scoring. But my biggest question would be, your tact going into the offseason would be what? What are you targeting with that 7th pick?
Shoring up the offensive line.
So you would prefer to go alt Tee Higgins opposed to like Rome Odunze and I'm trying to think of an offensive lineman off the top of my head.
Probably. I can't think of a veteran off the top of my head that is going to solve my problem.
The best tackle I can think of is Tyron Smith.
No, that doesn't do it.
Obviously.
Right.
I can't off the top of my head think of another one.
I'm going tackle in the draft. I'm going all in on Tee Higgins. Spend big there. Get me another edge rusher. And I think I'd take my chances in the draft with corner.
And that's where this is so funny to me, because there's part of me that looks at it and goes, you know what? You're going to get a really good receiver in the 2nd round. I'm not sure I wouldn't go chase Michael Onwenu from the New England Patriots and still take Joe Alt. That's how bad I think that offensive line actually is.
Okay.
But you've got pieces. It's complimentary free agent acquisition. Because Joe Alt, to me, makes Peter Skoronski better on the left side. I feel like Onwenu would make Petit Frere better on the right side. And now you've shored up that line. That helps Levis. And there's just so many receivers. I know we keep doing this in mock drafts, and I'm not going to lie to you. I just did it. I got 3 receivers in the top 10 because I have 3 receivers in my top 6 of draft grade. Mm-hmm. I'm just not sure that that's going to be the best way to go about this. I mean, you watch enough college football. I'm not saying you watch it the way that I do, but the difference between Rome Odunze and Tez Walker is what?
It's not that great.
I think it's significant, vast. But it's not the difference between Joe Alt and I'm trying to think of the most random offensive lineman I can say right here. Graham Barton.
There you go.
He's a guard.
That's a kid from Duke.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. I am not using primo draft capital on a wide receiver right now, especially if I can get Tee Higgins. And I guess you can't project that because you got to do free agency after the draft.
Free agency's before
the draft. Okay, so I get Tee Higgins. Now I don't have to worry about that. Now I just go get my tackle and I take a 3rd round wide receiver, use a 2nd round pick on a corner.
Dan Titan said the gap between Joe Alt and J.C. Latham. You don't know how accurate you are. Thanks laughing at that because we talked about J.C. Latham in 2 or 3 of those mock draft videos we recorded earlier.
Oh, yeah. And about a week ago, I had to sit down and have a 30-minute seminar from Flostradamus on just why he does not like J.C. Latham going so high in the draft.
There's a spot I like him. There's a spot I like anyone that's not a kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Don't draft kickers. San Francisco showed it. New England showed it. Green Bay showed it. Don't do it. Don't do it ever. Not ever. Not never, ever, 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 ever.
I can find one off the scrap heap somewhere, right?
Yes. So mock draft for the Titans. They're such an interesting team to me because they're so perfectly laid out. There are 100 ways you could go at this. I can't really project free agency because, for all I know, Tee Higgins hates Nashville. Tee Higgins could have hated Brian Callahan, for all I know. Does it make all the sense in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. But for me, I look at that 7th pick. There is no Joe Alt there. And so I go Roma Dunze.
Okay.
Because I would take a Dunze and I would take Malik Neighbors over Olaf Shanu. I take Joe Alt over the 2 receivers I just said. And then in the 2nd round, they take Patrick Paul, the offensive tackle out of Houston. I think he would come in and start right away.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad Andre Dillard was. Andre Dillard, Jalen Duncan, and Nick Petit-Frere. Woof.
And there again, it all comes back to what do you do, right? What do you value here? You value that lineman? Because in the 2nd round, you could get a guy like Tez Walker.
Yeah. I mean, you're still getting receivers in the 3rd round.
Exactly.
Let me just go ahead and tell you, if you watch our Senior Bowl coverage with Mullet and Mullet Senior at the Senior Bowl, you're going to hear the name Malachi Corley. I'm going to bet no less than 20 times over the next 14 days. He's a 3rd-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I had him going to the Raiders, I think, in the 3rd round. There's a lot. Yep. But there's only 3 to me that are special immediately, and that's Roma Dunze, Malik Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM at 1400. We will continue like that all off season long, fixing all of the teams that need to be fixed in the NFL. Sportsocracy is your home for all your Draftmas season content. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be time to get weird.
This is your Exergen Temple Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Gray sky will stick with us right into the afternoon, and really, like I mentioned this morning, maybe some patchy areas of rain, most of it light, and again, patchy. Tonight, still that chance of rain, a little bit better after midnight, 43, but nothing steady or heavy. Could have a brief round of rain tomorrow in the morning, then showers in the afternoon. Patchy fog, 55. Better chance, I think, of showers on Thursday. Showers are likely, and highs will be in the low 60s. For the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Shop the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Valid 1/4/24 to 1/24/24. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
Hear that? That's the sound of new digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Now you can play right from your phone and win real cash prizes. It may all sound new, but winning, oh yeah, big money, is as thrilling as ever. Register to play digital instants for a whole new way to win. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or ClarissaSellsWNC@gmail.com.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
We're back in the Ingles studio on ESPN Asheville. Weird headline came across the computer this morning that I just felt I had to pull out here. Does the name Devin Rattray mean anything to you, Jeremy? No, it does not.
Is it on one of those websites that you have to use your ID to get on in North Carolina now?
What you're talking about? What is that?
Sure, you should. I think you do. You're just playing real stupid.
What websites do you have to use an ID for now? You have to put your driver's license number in for something now?
Yes.
For adult websites?
Yeah.
When did that start?
Apparently a few weeks ago. I didn't know until somebody said it to me, and I went, "That's not." Oh my God, that's true.
That sounds like a scam to me. But okay.
Of course it does, Grandpa. Meanwhile, you're still trying to find that prince who needed you to wire some money to him 24 years ago.
If that's the case, I'm going to need magazines to come back in fashion real quick. Devin Rattray. Devin Rattray, you don't know the name probably, but you do know the face. He played Buzz McAllister in Home Alone and Home Alone 2. He was the jerk brother with the flat top. So when I saw the story this morning that Devin Rattray, Home Alone actor, hospitalized in critical condition, I thought, oh no, that sucks, but why is this news? I don't know that this guy has been in the news for any reason, but I would be wrong. Because the reason this becomes news is because his hospitalization is causing a delay in his domestic assault trial. Who would have guessed? Little old jerky Buzz McAllister would grow up to be an abuser.
At Sports Think ESPN.
Guy, and go and do the Google search, and you'll figure out quickly what the medical emergency was. He had himself a Tank Spencer heart attack. He wound up in critical condition. He is recovering, and he is going back on trial for beating his girlfriend back in December of 2021. Shocker of shockers. Anybody want to say typecast?
Your story is I'm laughing at my story. Your story is way too serious. So we got to get back to the dumbassery, which is what we do. My story comes from the state of Ohio. We have Ohio House Bill 38. It's on the floor in Ohio, and it is just burning a hole through lawmakers' pockets. They would give cash rewards, if this passes, to kindergartners, ninth graders, and those who graduate high school. Let me tell you how this breaks down. Anyone who graduates high school would receive $250 or be $500 if they have a GPA above 3.0. Kindergartners and ninth graders would receive $150 so long as they have an attendance rate of 90% or higher.
Okay.
Okay, there's two things I have to look at here. One is I believe those are the same benchmarks that we used to get Pizza Hut coupons for that sweet pan pizza in that sweet Pizza Hut. My, how times have changed. The other thing I want to say is $150 in this economy, where am I going? Wendy's? You think you're incentivizing me to do anything at this point with $150 in a Joe Biden government? You kidding me? It costs me more than that to fill up my car. How do you think this is a good idea? First of all, I feel like this is a great time to announce a new platform that I am announcing. And most of you that are my age or older, you're going to remember this from our childhood. I'm just rebranding it. You remember the Just Say No campaign? I want to do that again, but I want to aim it at parents. Tell your children no. Even if you don't want to. Even if you shouldn't. Just, can I have a cookie? No. No. Ingrain that word in children, because we got a whole generation here that ain't never heard it.
$500.
Yeah.
To graduate high school with a what was it?
3.0.
3.0. All right, so you get a B average, get a little $500. Here you go into adulthood.
There you go. That
Thanks.
really.
Are you going to give it to me in a savings bond that I have to wait 30 years to cash in? Is that the gig on this?
Does it come in a birthday card that I have to read with you staring at me?
I'm still waiting to cash in on all the ones that I got when I was in high school.
Oh, you got like war bonds or something?
Yeah, I got savings bonds, like, little school contest of hey, Tank won a $25 savings bond this week. I still can't cash them in.
Well, here's the thing. You should probably check those, because I feel like yours might have had Toucan Sam on them. No. Yours was on a Fruit Loops box.
30 years. 30 years until that thing matures.
Well, I mean, I've seen pictures of you from high school. That was playing a long game for your high school. They went put it in 30 years. Don't worry about keeping money in that account.
I got 6 more years, guys. I got 6 more years, and then I'm going to have at least, I don't know, $2,750. Because the price did go up. So, hell.
I feel like I should make shirts. Just say no to your children.
Of course, another 4 years of this economy, it might go up even more, right? No, that's not how that works.
No.
It'll be worthless.
No, if you bought real estate like 12 years ago, you're a millionaire. Oh, it was a studio bungalow in Asheville? You're still a millionaire.
You're in the Sportsocracy.
The only problem is, at the rate we're going, it might be leveled to put in a bike lane.
Good for you.
Can't wait for him to propose, hey, we should put bike lanes on I-26. That's another stupid idea. Thank you to our elected officials.
All right, let's get into a fun game of either, neither, both, Jeremy. You got a burning question on your mind today?
I do. I have several, actually.
Okay.
We have so far had 2 coaching hires in the NFL. Antonio Pierce to the Las Vegas Raiders. Brian Callahan to the Tennessee Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cheat in either, neither, both. I tell you, one of these 2 coaches makes the playoffs next year. Either, neither, both.
Neither.
All right.
You know how I feel about it. You know how I feel about the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders could have hired.
That's a good team.
The Raiders could have hired Bill Walsh, Bill Parcells, and Bill Belichick. By the way, hire Bills. It's a real good idea. You still wouldn't have cared. So let me rephrase the question. If I told you one of them made the playoffs, which one is it? Look, both teams have flaws.
It would be Brian Callahan.
You're putting too much stock in the coach.
Maybe so.
And trust me, the coach is very important. This was really just another opportunity for me to try to give you the opportunity to walk back all you've said about the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're that far off.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't think either one of them are tremendously far off. I mean, look, we just saw the Houston Texans turn it around in a year, and I swear to you, I wasn't 100% sure they were going to find 53 dudes that knew what a football was. And they made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be shocked if one of them does. To me, that's 2 home run hires. You both hired exactly who you should have. Which means there's a hire coming where we go, oink. Raheem Morris to the Seattle Seahawks.
It's going to be the Carolina Panthers job. You know that. You know that's the one you're going to look at and go, yep. Same thing.
Dan Morgan's just made me think. It's almost confirmed to me that that's going to be Dave Canales.
Mm-hmm. Same thing as the GM. Just take whoever's going to take the job. Whoever's willing to work with David Tepper.
I don't know that it's that cut and dry, but
yeah, I don't.
So your answer would be the Titans and Brian
My answer
Callahan.
would be the Tennessee Titans, and that's building in what they can do with that roster. You bring in a couple of pieces with a good free agency class. Here's my problem with the Raiders, okay? It's not just that I don't believe in the team. It's also that they're in the West. You're never getting over Kansas City, and I know you don't have to make the playoffs. Nope. But you do have to get over the Chargers, and I'm going to be back on the Chargers bandwagon just like everybody else when Jim Harbaugh takes that job. So it's not really a lot of room for me. I could see a path where things don't go so well in year 2 for the Houston Texans. Jacksonville struggles a little bit. Maybe Indianapolis doesn't do great. Tennessee makes the right moves and comes around. Good coaching. Boom. There you go. You win the easy, not the easiest of it. That's the wrong way to say that. You win a very competitive division, but just the same way that it happened this year. Sneak into the playoffs last week of the season. I see more of a path for that happening than I do Las Vegas beating Kansas City.
I don't.
Or L.A.
I don't. I don't. Look, I like Jim Harbaugh, and I think he's a really good coach. I don't think he's just this great epoxy that's going to fix a lot of things with the Chargers. And look, they've had some good coaches there over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Marty Schottenheimer comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he went 14-2 in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lost in the playoffs.
Yep. I don't care about the playoffs. This is a question about making the playoffs, and that 14-2 team, they keep the Raiders out.
Well, you didn't let me finish the thought. I've seen more talented Charger teams do less with as good of a coach. I'm not just shoehorning this into, well, Sean Payton's in Denver and Jim Harbaugh's most likely going to take the Charger job. Of course, they're just going to fall into place. I look at that South, and I disagree with you vehemently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a path that Houston regresses, especially if they're able to keep Bobby Slowick. I don't really see a way that Indianapolis regresses much, if at all. And I don't see how Jacksonville's as bad as they were this year.
Mm-hmm.
That division is evil. So my answer would have been the Raiders. Pretty clearly, too.
Okay. All right. My question was going to be about the Panthers job, but I think we've already beat that horse to death.
Dave Canales.
Right. You're convinced, so there's no reason to debating that. Who that's going to end up being.
Well, now I'm curious what the question was.
Well, the question was going to be basically an either-neither. You had to bet your house on it. Which do they end up with? A top candidate like a Mike Vrabel to come in and be the coach, who is, according to Bet Online, he is the odds-on favorite right now to get that job. Or do they have to settle? Do they settle for a Dave Canales? Do they settle for Raheem Morris or any of those guys? The bottom of the list.
I'm glad that I asked you what the question was, because now you've got me wanting to play devil's advocate again.
Mm-hmm.
What if we're looking at this the wrong way?
Okay, what could be the other way?
What if David Tepper met with Dave Canales? Because I told you from the beginning of the search, I felt like he was casting a broad net, and he was going to see who it was he fell in love with. What if he cast that broad net, and the one he fell in love with was Dave Canales? But he's got to go through the entire process. Dan Morgan's already in the building. He asked Canales, who do you want your GM to be? And that was his answer. That's not settling. You're never going to know it.
Could be.
You would never know it. And in the media, we're going to do that thing we do. If we see a name that we didn't expect, they settled. Well, that's early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're giving a lot of credence to that search firm. Trust me. You keep bringing up that they hired Sean McVay. I'd give you a couple others that they missed on badly.
Sure. They don't advertise those. They don't advertise their misses.
No.
So we can only tell you about the success story that they keep touting. Maybe that's their only success. And every other coach they've hired or helped hire has been fired within 3 years. I just don't know that.
The only time you advertise your misses is if you're a defense attorney. I defended Charles Manson. You're hired. I don't. Why do we? Sorry, that's a totally another story for another day.
That was a weird angle to go out on that.
I think that a lot when I watch true crimes things. These attorneys that their client winds up doing 400 years. I represented BTK. I could have represented BTK. He did it. It was very obvious he did it. Could have been me or Johnny Cochran. The end game here is the same.
Right. It could be. My other question would be, if that ever did come out and that was the case, is Dave Canales the guy that I'm going to give that kind of power to say, oh, I want this guy to be my GM, or oh, I want this. Dave Canales to me is not a guy that comes in and makes demands.
No, and I didn't say demands. I said, who would you want your GM to be? He said Dan Morgan. We're comfortable with each other from our time in Seattle, and he's already on staff. And it's entirely possible that Tepper was impressed with him anyway, and it becomes a package deal. You're never going to know these things.
Yeah, maybe so.
We just, in the media, we do a bad job of jumping to a conclusion of a name is what a name is to us. They didn't ask us. This is unilaterally David Tepper's decision. So if he sees Dave Canales as the next Sean McVay, they didn't settle for squat.
Right.
You got exactly what you wanted, and you're sitting in your office high on the hog thinking you have done exactly what it was you were set out to do.
Well, I hope that he's got a big old smile on his face today, and he can live with the decision, because right or wrong, it's the decision that's been made, and he's going to have to lay in that bed. And if it goes sour, it's not going to be pretty at all. You're in the Sportsocracy, ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. We'll continue, either, neither, both, next.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation.
I just won $1,000.
And kick your new year into high gear.
What? No way. I try every day. That's great.
Happening now.
Brought to you by PSG. PSG Traffic Services exists to save lives by providing safe work zones and to provide all your traffic needs. PSG is hiring team members. Excellent pay and benefits. Call 910-821-1720 or visit psgtrafficservices.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not one based on the driver who treats the highway like a racetrack and the shoulder like a passing lane. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Like sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JVC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
lunch. We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine, and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
We are back at the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. A few more moments left in the second hour of the program. Top of the next hour, it'll be time for the daily draft, where we'll talk about next year's Detroit, who's got the chance to be the team that missed the playoffs this year to maybe make a run next year. Before we do, Jeremy says he's got the greatest either, neither, both question ever. It's a big build-up.
So I feel like we are all universally cheering for a Detroit Lions, Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl.
Yes.
Unless you're a 49er Kansas City Chief fan. So I ask, there is no both in this.
Okay.
Either, neither. I tell you that you can either have the Detroit Lions make it to their first Super Bowl since, I don't know, the wheel was invented, or you can have Baltimore. Now, let me explain how I'm asking this question.
Mm-hmm.
You can have Detroit, America's team, the spunky little upstart, but you have to deal with Taylor Swift and Jason Kelce. Or you can get rid of the Swifties, but you have to deal with San Francisco in a game we've already seen, and listen to more about how Brock Purdy's an MVP candidate. I really want to know which narrative is more annoying, the Brock Purdy narrative or the Taylor Swift narrative. Because I'll be honest with you, you laughed because what you thought when you laughed was, "Oh, this is easy. I'll take Detroit."
Yeah.
Will you though?
Yeah. Yeah. I
so
mean,
you find the Brock Purdy a narrative more annoying than Taylor Swift?
Not necessarily. The narratives don't bother me. Taylor Swift doesn't bother me.
You do realize at the Super Bowl, you will multiply what you're already getting by 11,000.
She won't be there, though. She's got a concert in Japan that night.
Yeah, I'll bet she finds a way to not.
Really?
I'll bet you.
Is she going to cancel it to go to the Super Bowl?
I'll bet you she finds a way to not.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but it doesn't bother me, right? Like the Jason Kelce thing when he showed up shirtless and was standing there.
Yeah, Jason Kelce, I actually don't mind.
Did you hear the story that he got a note from Travis?
No.
Mark told me that this morning, that he had read an article that said that Travis sent a note up to Jason to tell him to get his ass back into the booth because he was creating a distraction. Now, that sounds ridiculous to me.
I don't buy that.
And I've not looked that up. But to me, that screams, you're taking the spotlight away from my girlfriend and you need to go away. Because that's what brothers do, right?
Hey, bro, she asked if you could sit down because you're...
I want to see Detroit. My heart tells me I want to see Detroit.
I want to see Detroit.
All. I don't care who I have to put up with.
I want to see Detroit. I also don't want to see Taylor Swift or Donna Kelce. Jason Kelce, that's fine. You give us all that you want to. Frankly, if you want to knock off the announce team and let him call this, I'm totally fine with that. I can't take any more Taylor Swift. I can't.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Gray sky will stick with us right into the afternoon, and really, like I mentioned this morning, maybe some patchy areas of rain, most of it light and, again, patchy. Tonight, Still that chance of rain, a little bit better after midnight, 43, but nothing steady or heavy. Could have a brief round of rain tomorrow in the morning, then showers in the afternoon. Patchy fog, 55. Better chance, I think, of showers on Thursday. Showers are likely, and highs will be in the low 60s. For the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic.
You can make the decision right now to get lasting relief from that awful joint pain for 2024. Don't go another year compromising because of that pain in your knees or shoulder. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative non-surgical pain relief. Your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue, and QC Kinetics can make it happen. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The future of pain treatments has arrived, and QC has tens of thousands of satisfied patients all over America. People with back pain, hip pain, any pain associated with arthritis or an injury. This is not a Band-Aid. This is a revolutionary treatment that can get you moving again. Get your life back. And listen, it's non-surgical. If this is the year you decide to fight back against the pain, take the first step now. Call QC Kinetics. Get a free consultation on the calendar today. Call 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
Crooked teeth may embarrass kids whose families can't afford braces, and trying to fix their teeth themselves can make things worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. For children and teens who qualify and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, treatment can be life-changing and help them smile with confidence. Learn more at aaoinfo.org.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingalls Studio.
We are back at the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. You're listening locally on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and, of course, 1400 for the folks out in Haywood County. We've got us streaming all over the world on the iHeart Radio app. And don't forget, you can watch us live in the Ingalls studio right here every afternoon at thesportsocracy.com. Click the live video link. Once you're through to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat and daily draft time for the third hour of the program. The Detroit Lions have captured the hearts of America. Right? Whenever a team makes a run like this, they seem to be embraced by the every fan. Right? The every fan. The one that's not committed to a team that's still in the playoffs. You're watching for a certain narrative. You're watching for, you want to see teams do well. And a team that hasn't won since 1957 gets a whole lot of backing. Still convinced that's why there's so many Red Sox fans today. Because you just adopt the lovable loser when they finally have a chance to win. And then they do it, and then you become a fan for life, right? You jump the bandwagon. How many bandwagon fans will this create of the Detroit Lions? The question for today's daily draft, though, is what team next year could be this year's Lions? A team that missed the playoffs, but may be able to make a run in 2024, 2025.
I'll give you the first pick.
You're going to give me the first pick. Well, I mean, is it cheating to take the Cincinnati Bengals? Because, technically they didn't make the playoffs, but that's not necessarily a dark horse team.
I'll let you do it.
Okay.
Because you're asking a lot. You're asking a team that didn't make the playoffs, that's now losing its offensive coordinator, that's going to lose a couple pieces off this team. I think it's an obvious call, and they will certainly be competitive, and it wouldn't shock me if they did it. They weren't my one.
Really?
No.
Okay. Who is your one?
Well, to answer that, I'm going to ask you a very basic question that you should be able to answer yourself because I've said this for quite some time. What's the one thing you should be able to tell me about at least 4 of the top 6 teams on my list? They play where?
In the NFC.
In the
NFC. Okay.
And here's why I say that. Name me the team that's going to grossly fall off. The Buffalo Bills, the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Houston Texans, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Now understand, I didn't say anything about the Jets. I didn't say anything about the Bengals. I didn't say anything about the Chargers. I didn't say anything about the Colts, and I didn't say anything about the Jaguars.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to look at it, and I know it will happen because it happens every single year. And I'm not saying that those are the 7 that I definitely think make it in the AFC. It's hard for me to bet on it, especially if you give me something like that. I still had Cincinnati really high, but I had a pause of, okay, that means I got to take somebody out, and it is way harder to take somebody out in the AFC than it is in the NFC.
Yes. There's one obvious, though. Pittsburgh. To me.
You would say that, but, man, how do we somehow find a way that they're here every single year? The most obvious one to me, and it's really not even all that close.
Okay.
The Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have all of the talent you could possibly ever want. They had a coach that thought he was smarter than the world, and they had the worst quarterback play analytically in the last 5 years in the NFL. It was horrific. And they still almost made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, you're in a division where your reigning champion is about to have to pay their quarterback exponentially more than they paid him this year. Carolina is, I'm just going to say they're Carolina, and we've harped on you enough today. And New Orleans is still employing Dennis Allen. There's not a lot of impediment to you if Bill Belichick's your coach and he can bring in even a competent quarterback. And now I ask you this question. How many quarterbacks can you name off the top of your head that are readily available that if they were in Atlanta next year, they're a minus 250 favorite to win the division? Because I would argue it's Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, basically anybody that fell out of Pittsburgh, not named Mitch Trubisky. Somehow he's the only one that's just awful. I don't know how that happens. Geno Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think teams that could make moves. Sam Howell. That's the quick match game, 24 seconds off the top of my head. Every quarterback I just named, Atlanta's the easy, walking away favorite. You disagree with anything I just said?
I do not disagree with anything you just said.
That's why, to me, it's Atlanta and it ain't close. That's, to me, why the Bill Belichick thing gets done. I don't care how much he hates somebody in the front office. I don't care if he hates the GM. I don't care if Arthur Blank hates him. I don't care.
No.
If that's who he wants, that's it.
And he's got the talent, and we all know he can coach. Question is, can he bring it all together for a year? And it is the easiest division to win.
Kelvin joined our YouTube comments. He said, calling a shout right now, Jimmy Garoppolo to the Falcons next year.
It's not
Makes
bad.
a lot of sense.
Yep.
Because he's going to be real cheap.
Mm-hmm. It takes a headache away from the Las Vegas Raiders. Makes a lot of sense.
You bring in Garoppolo for a year, you put Michael Penix or J.J. McCarthy or somebody behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's your division winner for the next 3 years.
All right, that was a good selection. And then.
I had a handful here. And it came back to that thing we keep talking about. What if the quarterback changes?
For?
The Seattle Seahawks. Everybody's talking about him hiring a defensive coach.
Yes.
All right, if the defense gets better, and I'm not saying Pete Carroll was bad by any stretch of the imagination. Let's just say the message went stale. Maybe Geno Smith went stale because these guys are looking around going, oh, God, we're counting on Geno. and Geno's awful. And trust me, you may think I'm crazy. If you're watching this on YouTube, take a good hard look at that logo on my lapel right here. I've watched it happen. He really grades on people. He has the entire time that I've even known his name, going back for when he played for my West Virginia Mountaineers and when he played for my New York Jets. What if you were able to add the quarterback? What if they added Sam Howell? Do you not look at Seattle and go, well, you're a shoo-in to make the playoffs? Make a run? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
You get hot at the right time? Wouldn't shock me in the least. I think I'd tie my little red wagon to you before I'd tie it to anybody else. There are a few that are close.
Mm-hmm. People match up a defensive coach with them because of the culture, right? Because that's that's what we've done.
They match up a defensive coach because practically everyone they brought in the building has been a defensive coach.
Well, yeah, because but I mean that's what we do. Run the ball mainly and play good defense. Doesn't mean we don't pass the ball. Doesn't mean we can't pass the ball. We got great receivers here. But it's smash-mouth football up there, and that's why. That's why they brought in all these defensive coordinators. It's the only reason I can think of. It's a culture thing.
I think that's an error in judgment, but you're obviously going to have a changing of the guard. Shane Waldron is gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be different. And if it's Patrick Graham or it's Raheem Morris, whatever the case may be, the offense is going to change a little bit, and I think the defense is going to get better. And if that's the case, I don't know that there's a huge impediment to you in the NFC.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to take an NFC team here, and it'll be out of the South, and it'll be that other team that we thought was going to win this division this year, and this is the New Orleans Saints. I know there's a lot.
They were one of the ones I was considering.
There's a lot still here to figure out with this team. I mean, you are still led by Dennis Allen. The Derek Carr thing has not gone well.
Well, the Derek Carr thing didn't go well, but now you're going to have a new voice in the offensive room.
Mm-hmm.
That was where I was at with New Orleans. I just couldn't get past Dennis Allen.
You're $82 million over the cap.
That was the other part.
Whatever cap calisthenics you got to do, you got to employ those once again, because we've been playing this game now for 6 years with this team, right? Ever since Drew Brees, you were kicking the can down the road on his money, and it just has not stopped since then. But again, that's a franchise that I look at the division. I go, the division is winnable, no doubt. New Orleans, Tampa, and Atlanta all come in next year with damn near equal shots. Atlanta with the nod, obviously with the coaching bump with Bill Belichick, if that does happen.
Andreas Payton said Loomis will keep kicking the can. I have no doubt of that. I didn't really hold the cap against you that much. You're going to lose players. You've officially kicked the can to the point that you can't do it without losing some of the change that's in the can.
Mm-hmm.
But you can get under the cap. I can't get past Dennis Allen.
Yep. And then since you said you had a whole bunch of NFC teams, I'm going to take another one. No, actually, you know what? I'm going to let you do that.
Yeah, there's another one I'll say instantaneous.
I'm not. I don't know if I'm thinking of the one you're thinking of. I'll go back to the AFC because I got to go with the Chargers. Because I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep bashing my head against that Chargers wall until somebody finally turns that talented roster into something. And I think you're doing a good thing by, Jim Harbaugh. If he is the pick and that comes to fruition, which everything points to it's going to, I think they're going to be just fine. They will be in contention next year.
The Chargers were one of 2 AFC teams I had total.
Mm-hmm.
And they were 6. I do find it funny that you have so much blind faith in the Chargers and you have none in the Raiders.
They're a more talented team.
Yeah, they've been a more talented team for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
The results have been exactly the same. Exactly the same. I think that's what I've always found so funny about this.
Mm-hmm.
Is Denver, the Raiders, and the Chargers are the exact same team. And let me draw a parallel that, again, I had to experience quite obviously. New England. All right, so New England's run to all those AFC East titles. That requires there to be 3 reasonably inept franchises in your division. Because you're going to catch an injury, you're going to catch a bad schedule, you're going to catch a something where they get an advantage over you, unless they're all three equally poorly run. The Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets were all three terribly run.
Mm-hmm.
They each had their moments. Miami didn't have any where they had playoff success. Buffalo and the Jets both did.
Mm-hmm.
But there was always a problem. And I look at the AFC West the same way now. With the Raiders, it's the owner. I'm not sure it's not the owner with the Chargers. Or you're cursed. I have absolutely no idea which one.
Right.
And with Denver, it's been a rolling band of mistakes that I could draw all the way back to winning a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. You went super all in.
Mm-hmm.
And you can funnel that water downhill for a long time. And you're just now really starting to come out of it. Whether Sean Payton's the guy to fix that or not, I don't know.
Right.
I have my own beliefs. I told you there was a team I was going to say instantaneously.
Yes.
If you didn't.
Yes.
If you had to take a stab at who that team was, who would it be?
Washington.
That's funny you said Washington, because that's not who it is.
Oh.
But it is time for us to take a break.
Oh.
So,
wonderful.
In the chat, if you want to fire out which NFC team it is, and I'm not going to lie to you, I played the game here. I think this is the most obvious one. By a mile. I just had a really good feeling he wasn't going to do it.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave four, like a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in the combo. Single item at regular price.
I'm starting the new year by making my home feel like new with the advanced cleaning of Zero Res. Take advantage of their New Year's sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention ESPN Asheville, you'll get a hallway clean for free. Schedule online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
Hey, it's Mark Starling from First News on 570, and I've been going to Summit Dental in Asheville with Dr. Chad Reinhardt for years. They're fantastic, but you don't have to take my word for it. Check out some of these 5-star reviews from Google. After searching for a dentist for months, I finally found this place. I needed some serious dental work, and they got me in within a week. If you're anxious about going to the dentist, I assure you this is the place that can give you a new outlook on having dental work done. They're upfront, honest, and caring people who only want the best for their patients. You gotta check out Summit Dental in Asheville with Dr. Chad Reinhardt, home of the comfort menu.
You can make the decision right now to get lasting relief from that awful joint pain for 2024. Don't go another year compromising because of that pain in your knees or shoulder. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative non-surgical pain relief. Your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue, and QC Kinetics can make it happen. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The future of pain treatments has arrived, and QC has tens of thousands of satisfied patients all over America. People with back pain, hip pain, any pain associated with arthritis or an injury. This is not a Band-Aid. This is a revolutionary treatment that can get you moving again. Get your life back. And listen, it's non-surgical. If this is the year you decide to fight back against the pain, take the first step now. Call QC Kinetics. Get a free consultation on the calendar today. Call 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
I'm Dwayne Wade, and I've been blessed to have so many titles so far in my life. But now I'm adding podcast hosts with my new podcast called The Why with Dwayne Wade. On this show, I will have intimate conversations with some of the biggest names in sports, in music, in entertainment, in fashion, and we will discuss the whys in their lives. Listen to The Why with Dwayne Wade on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you can get your podcast.
The check is good, the experience is smooth, and the reviews online are wonderful at GiveMeTheVin.com. They don't call us America's best car buyer for nothing.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. By storing our guns safely, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at ClarissaSellsWNC.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine, and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, God?
It is ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy. Daily Draft rolls on here. Who could be next year's Lions? The team that missed the playoffs this year, that could make the playoffs, maybe even make a run next year in the playoffs. First pick overall, I went with the Cincinnati Bengals. Then Jeremy goes Atlanta and Seattle. So he's got more NFC teams on tap coming for his next picks. I went with the New Orleans Saints with my second pick, and then the Los Angeles Chargers with Jim Harbaugh coming in, changing the culture down there. Jeremy, it's time for your third pick. You said before the break, instantaneously you would be ready to throw this one out there.
And I was, but it was time for a break, and I wanted to give this its proper flowers.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one division in the NFC that I look at and go, you realize every team in this could regress, right? I don't like the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't see a clear path to them being good anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think Green Bay's a little fluky. I admit it, Jordan Love's better than I thought. Receivers are really good. Your defense still leaves a whole mess to be desired, and you got just far enough that Joe Barry's probably not going anywhere. And if Ben Johnson leaves the Lions, I don't know what that offense is going to be. It's Chicago Bears. I know that sounds insane.
Mm-hmm. It is. Or it does.
Okay. You do realize they have 2 top 9 picks in the best top-end draft I've ever seen.
Sure.
That means this team is going to add one of 2 of the 3 things I'm getting ready to say. A quarterback and get back a day 2 compensation pick on Justin Fields plus another pick, in which they would have Caleb Williams, who, let's say he's as good as everybody says he is. I don't believe that. The tape doesn't say that. But let's say he gets this chip on his shoulder, us against the world, goes into Chicago with DJ Moore, got a solid running game. I like a lot of the things you've done with the offensive line. And then you add either a high-end wide receiver at 9 or another offensive line piece or a pass rusher. You're telling me that can't be the best team in the NFC, in the NFC North? In a division with Dan Campbell maybe losing both of his coordinators? We just saw that in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
You have Jared Goff. They had Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what both those quarterbacks have in common? They're both limited. And you'd be putting them in new schemes. And I saw how that went with Jalen Hurts, and it wouldn't shock me if it happened with the Detroit Lions.
Okay. So
you add that much talent to the Bears.
That.
Oh, and by the way, they're going to play one of the easiest schedules in the league. I don't think it's as out of the realm of possibilities as it sounds.
Okay. I mean, you make a good case. There is a chance, yes, that the other teams could regress. I don't expect that to happen, but there is a possibility for it. Next.
I mean, I have to do this because you would be a jerk and take them. It's the New York Jets.
Yes.
Hey, Joe Douglas, maybe give an offensive line to Aaron Rodgers. It's a thought. Maybe you should not play 14 starting offensive line combinations. And then you look at the AFC East. Miami's got a whole mess of questions. Buffalo's quarterback just got $30 million more expensive the second the clock expired in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
New England is a ways away. There's a reason I'm taking them this low because it's still the Jets. And frankly, you fooled me enough times. Did you see Aaron took all the linemen to Vegas?
No. Doesn't shock me.
It just strikes me like hey, Aaron Rodgers has become like the uncle that we all had that gave us beer when we were 14. Like, don't tell your mom. This is Betty. Betty's going to be around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks later. This is Susie. Susie's going to be around for a long time. 2 weeks later, you get the point.
Aaron knows
they
how
drove
to have
a
fun.
Chevelle. They listened to a lot of Leonard Skinner. They drank a lot of domestic lights that started with Bush or Natural.
They did a lot of drugs in the desert. I
No
can tell
doubt.
you that.
They had a spiritual journey where they're convinced they saw both they saw both God and the devil.
Oh yeah, they were out praying to Gaia Earth, smoking peyote under a cactus somewhere.
They followed fish around for a while. Or the Grateful Dead. Insert generationally acceptable band here.
You did the right thing because there was no way that the Jets were getting back
I'm aware.
to you. And you took the Chicago Bears. That surprised me. But you made some salient points. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not saying that there's going to be a huge regression in that conference or in that division, right? You got San Francisco at the top. LA's right there. They're going to continue to build, or we expect them to continue to build on what was already a playoff year this year. However, the rest of the NFC is so bad, you could have 3 teams come out of the playoffs in that division.
You could.
And, don't trust Geno Smith as much. Not saying that I trust Kyler Murray much more. There's something going on down there in the desert, and they can add some talent to that team. They're going to be just fine.
I'm not going to lie to you. I knew there was a possibility you were going to do that, and I didn't love it. I didn't love losing that team, but I was fine with it. I couldn't lose either of the 2 that I didn't take.
Precisely.
Either of the 2 that I did take.
Yes. And then after Arizona, you took the Jets, so that
I did.
That didn't make me feel great. I've already taken the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, Jacksonville Jaguars. There it is.
I was curious if that one was going to dawn on you.
You were supposed to be the division winner this year. Your play did not live up to the Duval standards there. Actually, that did. Actually, it did.
Yeah, it
didn't
lived up to that. It didn't live up to what you wanted it to be. It lived up to what it has been for quite some time.
Yes, no doubt. The end of the season looked very Jacksonville Jaguar-y. However, I have to project, right? Another year in the system, more growth for this young team, maybe, because Houston was a great story. C.J. Stroud is awesome. There's no doubting that. Don't want to take anything away from him. Could that be a dogfight for the division again next year? Absolutely. Come down to the final game of the season, and who knows who wins out. Jacksonville, though, is going to remain in the playoff discussion all year long.
Formidable selection. You left me with 2 picks, right?
Yep.
Oh, let's see. Let me think about this for about as long as I thought about it as soon as because I left Jacksonville before you. I'm not going to lie. Indianapolis Colts, Washington Commanders. I win.
I win.
I got 2 real good coaches. Shane Steichen, Ben Johnson. I get the number 2 pick with one of them, and I get the number 3 pick from last year back with the other one. I would have taken Jacksonville had you forced me to, because there is a lot of talent there. I just feel like the book's out on Jacksonville. I don't know how you're supposed to get so much better than what I've already seen. Nothing's changing. My argument on Indianapolis would be you got within one dumb call of the playoffs this year with a defense that, well, let's just be honest, it left a lot to be desired, and a backup quarterback. Oh, by the way, did I remember to mention that Indianapolis has top 5 cap money? Now, yes, some of that would go to Michael Pittman if you decided to bring it back. It ain't as much as you think. It ain't Christian Kirk money, because that ain't what he's getting, because there's not a market there for him.
Really?
This receiver class is too good. Where's it coming from? Look at the teams with money. You want a receiver? Go draft one that's cheap as all get out for the next 4 years. That's better than Pittman. Look, I love Michael Pittman. You're going to fall into that, and somebody does this every year. You became a free agent at the wrong time, because there's another high-end veteran if I want to pay one, and there are a ton of young guys that I can just go draft one. That's as good as you, and if not as good as you, then pretty close and way cheaper.
Free agency and wide receiver. It starts with Tee Higgins.
Calvin Ridley,
okay. And then Michael Pittman,
Mike Evans. I would say Mike Evans is next.
I was going to say that's the top 4.
I'm forgetting one, and at this very moment, I cannot put my Hollywood Brown.
Okay.
I know you're not a fan. I get it.
I don't see him. I don't see him commanding as much as the others.
He won't.
Okay. All right.
He won't, but that's almost kind of the reason I brought him up. Is that if a team is looking for the deep threat, it's a very specific kind of quarterback that's going to look at Michael Pittman, who does not separate well. He's just a big body, and go, well, if I'm going to do that, why would I not do Mike Evans for cheaper and for shorter? He wants to win right now. So that takes off all the back-end teams. All the high-end teams, I'll just go draft Keon Coleman. You're the same dude, and he's faster than you. You see my point?
Yeah.
There's a guy like this every single year, and this is the year that I can't stop looking at as Michael Pittman. I won't be shocked if he signs a 1-year deal in Indianapolis. I know that sounds insane right now. It won't shock me in the least. If they just look at him and go, you know what, go test that market. I don't think you're going to find what it is that you want. And then Washington, it's either Sam Howell or it's one of these high-end quarterbacks, and you've got a ton of young pieces. And I don't know what you're going to get out of Dallas, and I don't know what you're going to get out of Philadelphia.
And it's good luck. You know, it don't happen very often that a rookie quarterback comes in, changes a franchise, and takes them to the playoffs. It's very rare that happens. I don't want anybody getting spoiled by the C.J. Stroud thing. Right? Oh, this is just what we can do now. Not so much. Washington, there's a path. Everything's got to go perfectly for you.
No doubt.
First-year head coach, possibly. Rookie quarterback. I get why you did it. And I get why you did it last. And I get why you did it last.
I had to on both.
And then my final selection, you didn't leave me much, obviously, because, well, we've been through about every damn one of these teams. And the problem is,
I can't wait to hear who the next one is.
Well, Minnesota Vikings. You bring back Kirk Cousins, you're right back to where you were last year. You are a deadly offense that can score points. Your defense is not good, so you're going to have to address that in the offseason, but your offense can still score points. And that can be good enough to get you into the playoffs. By no means are you a threat to make a run, but I'm not counting you out. All for the same reasons that you said earlier about the NFC North. Everybody else kind of regresses. Minnesota stays the same. You can still score a bunch of points. Maybe take advantage in your division of some weaker defenses. That could happen. Who else would you have taken?
The Raiders.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I'd steered you into the corner of having to take the Raiders.
Nope.
Frankly, I would have taken the Broncos over the Vikings. And wouldn't have even thought about it. Maybe Sean Payton does something stupid and goes, hey, who's the best quarterback I could possibly get?
I don't see a path.
I don't.
To the Raiders getting good enough to make the playoffs in the AFC. I really don't.
The Raiders could draft prime Calvin Johnson and Jerry Rice, and you would still find a way to do on them.
Because they'll always find a way to screw it up. Like all bad franchises do. You're in the Sportsocracy, in the ESPN Asheville. Coming up next, most important message of the day.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Gray sky will stick with us right into the afternoon, and really, like I mentioned this morning, maybe some patchy areas of rain, most of it light, and again, patchy. Tonight, still that chance of rain, a little bit better after midnight, 43, but nothing steady or heavy. Could have a brief round of rain tomorrow in the morning, then showers in the afternoon. Patchy fog, 55. Better chance, I think, of showers on Thursday. Showers are likely, and highs will be in the low 60s. For the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's. Wendy's Breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles lets you choose your perfect duo from your fave four, like a sausage or egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in the combo. Single item at regular price.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with a new way to enjoy our beautiful planet. When exploring outdoor areas like local parks or a historic urban neighborhood this spring, be sure to recreate responsibly to protect yourself and the environment. Check the open status of a place before you visit, be respectful of others, and dispose of waste properly. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation.
I just won $1,000.
And kick your new year into high gear.
What? No way. I try every day. That's great.
Happening now.
Brought to you by PSG. PSG Traffic Services exists to save lives by providing safe work zones and to provide all your traffic needs. PSG is hiring team members. Excellent pay and benefits. Call 910-821-1720 or visit psgtrafficservices.com.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you right now, like Alt 2K, a commercial-free look back to alternative from the 2000s. Just search Alt 2K and listen now on your free iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
The best season of the year is here.
Tailgate season.
Monster Brewing presents this season's MVP.
The Beast Unleashed.
With 4 bold, familiar flavors.
With 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Beast Unleashed is your new pregame ritual.
With white haze, mean green, peach perfect, and scary berries, there's a flavor for every fan.
The Beast
Unleashed.
6% alcohol by volume. Unleashed responsibly. Must be 21 or over. Beast Unleashed. Available at your local retailer.
At Ingalls, we're proud to work with hundreds of local farms and businesses in the communities we call home. Not only does it ensure that you get top quality, fresh items for your family table, it's a way for us to support the amazing individuals who pour their heart and soul into delivering the very best they can do. Quality, freshness, community, it's all in the bag. Ingalls. Low prices. Love the savings.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
It is ESPN Asheville. It's the Sportsocracy, and it's time for the most important message of the day.
Don't do crimes.
Oh, we have to go to Florida for crimes. Because
I chose a weird state for crimes today.
Really? Did you? Yeah. Okay.
Anytime I see crimes that don't happen in, one of the 4 hotbed crime states.
Yeah. Well, the universe always provides from Florida, especially from one spot in Florida. Polk County, Florida. I feel like most of the stories that we do come from Polk County, Florida. Man was arrested. Polk County Sheriff's deputies were in the area of Lake Hatchineaha. I asked Mark Starling earlier how to say that. And
he lived there, and I swear I think he was spitballing and making it up. He changed the phrasing of this, and he kept asking, "Where is it again?" It's not a spelling bee, Mark. We don't need the country of origin.
We do.
You know how it's pronounced, or you don't.
Apparently, you do in Florida. You need the county of origin to see whether or not an A sounds like an E, or an A, or a hard A, or a soft A. Anyway.
Are these Florida Gator fans or not? Because it changes.
Haines City. This is right outside of Winter Haven, where my father-in-law lives. Haines City is where he got pulled over because the tailgate on his pickup truck was hanging low, so they could not see the license plate. So they pull him over because it's a violation on Florida roadways. They go up to Mr. Brush. Robert Brush is his name. He's 46 years old, and they asked for license and registration, please. He hands over his license to the cop. The cop picks it up, looks at it, and then he looks at it real close because there looks to be something on the license. Quote, a white crystalline substance on the license.
He cut coke with his driver's license.
No, meth. It was meth.
Equally stupid and kind of more confusing, if I was being really honest.
The story goes on to describe or to explain that cards like driver's licenses are often used to break up drugs, so that the deputy tested the substance and it allegedly came back positive for meth. He claimed that he did not know where the drugs came from on the license and that there was nothing illegal in the car. Deputies called in a police dog, which alerted them to the fact that there was drugs in the car.
Shocks me how many people don't know they have drugs in the car. Like, I swear, it's not my car. I stole it.
So you got pulled over for an obstructed license plate. Now you've handed the license to the cop that has meth on it, and now the drug dog has found a baggie filled with what appeared to be a large amount of the same substance on the license. It came back positive for meth, and there were a total of 14.23 grams of meth. They found another baggie that had another 2 grams of meth in it, and so Mr. Brush, he is now facing massive charges and what could have been avoided by just putting the tailgate up on your truck.
Well, stupid criminals will keep this segment happening for quite some time.
No doubt.
My story is, it's not necessarily about a stupid criminal. Might be, depending on how this ends. This is more about a stupid home buyer. Home was purchased in western Colorado in the town of Grand Junction. If you're a fan of the ranch, you'll know that this is the town that they lived just outside of. This is where their Kentucky Fried Chicken was. January 12th, new home buyers are looking around the home that they bought, and they find something that I learned from Clarissa Hyatt, who is our resident realtor of EXP Realty. Find her at clarissasellswnc.com. You always ask what comes with a house, because there are things called fixtures. And sometimes a seller will want to take something that they're not supposed to. In this instance, they left something that you probably didn't want them to. They left a freezer. It's a little drop freezer, baby. It's a little gift from whoever sold us the house.
Yeah.
So they checked it out, and I'll give you one guess what they found in there.
A body.
You're close. Part of a body. It was hands and hooves.
Oh.
Or a head and hands.
Hooves? Like hooves?
I mean, hooves, I guess, would work.
What kind of pig man bear did they kill?
They killed man bear pig. Oh, damn it. Al Gore is going to be so angry.
Oink.
I'm telling you, I woke up way earlier today than I'm used to. I'm running on fumes. They found a head and hands in the freezer. They do not know who they belong to. Tank's over here doing little hoof hands. You know, your shenanigans really irk me when I'm really fully rested. They drive me practically crazy when I'm tired. No identification has been sent off to the state crime lab. And investigators have been in contact with the home's previous owners. How do you say you didn't know anything? Because they didn't say they arrested the previous owners. They said they've been in contact with them. Did you own the home? Uh-huh. Is that your freezer? Uh-huh. How did it get hands in it? I don't know.
No, sir, that's not my freezer.
You know who I'm going to blame? Donald Trump. That's who did it.
Real estate agent must have brought that in here.
I don't know. He's got Dexter selling my house.
I left the back door unlocked for the real estate agent. Squatters maybe came in here and put the hands in there. I don't know. There's no scenario that I would ever find myself with human body parts in my freezer, so I can't I can't really make sense of this.
I immediately go to I can't do blood, so no. I'll also never say, why do you save this crap? Like, all right, so you killed Bob. Why do you have Bob's head in your freezer? Could you not find a hole to put that in?
Because it's a well-known fact, Jeremy, that serial killers are not only psychopathic, but they're also hoarders, right?
Apparently.
I got to keep a
mementos.
This show needs to end right now.
Yeah.
Just
That's the third.
jingle out. Let's go home.
That's the third one of my jokes that could not be told on this show that has been voiced in this hour. And now Tank can't stop laughing because he knows the joke.
Oh, Massachusetts. And points for Patrick Holt, who said that if it did have human hooves, it was my ex-wife. I love you, Patrick Holt, so much.
And apparently Patrick Holt and I were married to the same woman. You find a horn and a trident in there, we're going to fight about
My
which
only
one to
question
switch.
is, how did they hold the cigarettes in the hooves to put them out on your couch? That is the important question.
All I can imagine now is whoever owned this house going, oh, chicken nuggets, French fries, tater tots, Bob, steaks. Last year's deer. Oh, shoot. We're going to McDonald's.
Do not keep don't kill people. Stop cutting
don't
people's
do
parts
crimes.
off and keeping them in your freezers.
Oh, that segment went a way different way than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, it did.
This is why Jeremy shouldn't come in early. I should I should have my 7 domestic lights a night, get my 4 hours of sleep. You cut that down to 2, you get man, bear, pig dead in the freezer.
And now you've made me cry, and for some reason, I feel like that when you're at the pool, right, and the sunscreen gets into your eyes, my eyes are burning, and now they just won't stop. All right.
We have we have super chats we need to get to
chats.
before
All right, let me see if I can find my button through the
Sorry.
tears in my eyes here. Oh, man. Like I rubbed pepper spray in my eye.
Yeah!
Super chat.
Curtis Davis, Harbaugh or we riot. Go Chargers, go. P.S. No Greg Roman. Yeah, if you get Harbaugh, you're probably going to be stuck with Roman because I would wager a good bit of his Michigan staff is sticking around. Because I can't see if Harbaugh takes that job, which I have no reason to believe that he's not going to. I feel like a lot of guys are staying back with Sharon Moore. So you're going to see. I think that staff is almost as interesting as whether he takes this job. Do you see a path that he doesn't?
No.
I mean, because it kind of plays into a story we're getting ready to tell. So let me put a pin in that. I'll come back to that. Generations with another super chat. Yeah! He's a little behind. He started the show late. He asked me, would I take a kicker first overall if it was guaranteed Justin Tucker? No. You know when I'd take a kicker? If it was guaranteed to be Justin Tucker, I would consider thinking about taking him in the 6th round. Thinking about it. Maybe.
Greatest kicker, no doubt, of all time.
Yep.
I don't
consider
care.
it in the 6th round. I don't care.
Right.
Because here's the thing. Greatest kicker of all time. You're 6 bad weeks away from being unemployed. Anything less than that, you're 3 bad weeks away from being unemployed. And look at Brandon Aubrey for the Dallas Cowboys. He was phenomenal. They found him off the trash heap. That was one of the biggest questions about that roster going into the year.
Yeah.
I will also never understand how it is so hard for high-level colleges to find kickers. Florida State did this for a while. They were super invested and had Janikowski and Graham Gano and all these dudes. Then they went through about a 4-year period where I'm not sure they weren't finding them. Like, hey, the janitor in my office, I saw him kick a trash can, and that dude's got a boot.
Mm-hmm.
How's that happen?
No clue.
How's that happen?
You gotta raid the soccer program, I guess.
Yeah, it worked with Brandon Aubrey. So.
Yeah.
But Curtis Davis's question steers us into where we were headed with this segment before we got on man, bear, pig, and human hooves and things.
Which is Ohio State. Apparently there's a lot of shock at how much they've spent on NIL deals?
I just think it's funny how misleading they're being about how much money they're spending.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, because there's no cap on what you can spend, of which, by the way, that's coming. Ohio State is steering us into that. There are 3 things that I can tell you are coming in college football within the next presidential term. By the time we start making fun of the next set of presidential candidates, you're going to have contracts for players. You're going to have way different restrictions on transfers, and you're going to have a cap on what each team can spend on NIL. Because Ohio State, I don't think I've talked to a soul that has anything to do with college football that's not looking at Ohio State going, they're just trying to buy a national title.
Yes.
And there probably going to succeed.
Yes.
Do you realize how many quarterbacks they have right now?
No.
They have 5 guys that were top 10 recruits at quarterback within the last 4 years.
Wow.
And 4 of them, you can't start all 4 of them.
That's with Will Howard?
Yes. Yes. Now, I think the rating on him came in as a transfer because I don't think he was that good of a recruit. He was a good recruit. I don't think he was that good.
Mm-hmm. The NIL class, the report that I'm looking at, says $10 million. They spent $10 million on bringing in guys through the transfer portal, Caleb Downs, Will Howard, Julian Sayin. They're spending big on the free agents because that's what they are. And the rules allow them to do so. Why wouldn't you expect Ohio State is going to do this?
Where is the story that you're reading from?
This is from Outkick.
So I read the same story, and you're leaving out a word.
Okay.
And it's where the lie comes in.
Okay.
It says they spent $10 million to bring in new talent and retain what they already had. That's a lie.
Oh.
That's straight up a lie. What you brought in probably cost this much.
Yes.
Not even talking about what you offered Travion Henderson, not even talking about what you offered Marvin Harrison Jr., not even talking about what you offered Emeka Ibuka. And I'm telling you right now, this is the way things change in college football, is somebody takes a rule and they manipulate it. And Ohio State has done that. I can't tell you that it's going to buy you a national title, but I will tell you this. It confirms to me that Jim Harbaugh is going to the Los Angeles Chargers. Because if he wasn't, he would have already done something to stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're negatively recruiting you every second of every day. As long as you keep taking interviews, they are using this against you, and they will bleed you dry. And if you don't believe me, look at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Look how many players they lost. Look how many of them went to Georgia. Look how many of them went to Florida State. Look how many of them went to Texas. Because that's 3 schools that have really stable head coaches that told you no.
My takeaway from seeing the story was not, oh my God, Ohio State is spent $10 million.
Can't be mad at you.
My takeaway from this was they spent more than $10
considerably
million. Right. They spent more than $10 million on this. And when $5 million of it goes to the quarterback, right? When that's what we were told in the offseason, the rumor
that we
heard.
Ward. That was not Will Rogers. Or Will Howard, excuse me.
I get it, but if the number's at 5 on Cam Ward, then I imagine that the number's 5 in the realm for everybody.
It ain't that high.
Really?
Mm-mm. Nope. Cam Ward had, I can still declare for the draft on the table. And I'll go ahead and tell you, and Tank, you can verify this because I told you this story behind or off air multiple times. Whatever just happened with Cam Ward is going to be part of what changes the legislation in college football. Because I can tell you definitively, it was signed, sealed, delivered to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
The boosters backed out and did not want to pay him $5 million. That's what he wanted. He searched around. Florida State didn't want to pay it to him. DJ Uiagalelei got considerably less. They didn't want to go there. They wanted Cam Ward to go, I'll just come to Florida State for a meal or whatever it is. I don't know exactly what the number is. I've been told something, but I can't verify it.
Right.
Cam Ward says, I'm going to the NFL draft. Weird. 3 or 4 days later, all of a sudden he's starting quarterback at Miami. How much money do you think he got from Miami? Make a bet with you. I'll bet you anything you want.
That it was how much?
I will guarantee you it was $5 million.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely no way for you to trace that. No way for you to confirm that. He told anybody that would listen, that is what it costs to get me to transfer, or I'm going to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He declared for the draft, and then he backpedaled. And as soon as he did that, Ohio State just went ballistic after Julian Sayin and all these other pieces.
Caleb Downs. Mm-hmm.
Does it not strike you as odd that Ohio State somehow got every high-level transfer after Cam Ward? Is that not weird? Does that not strike you as strange?
No.
I can tell you why. Because they had earmarked a set amount of money for Cam Ward, and they had leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
And, hey, look, Alabama just got gutted. Let's go. And this will change the way this is done.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Ohio State goes in here and wins a national title, which I think they would have been competitive to do anyway, they were always going to get a quarterback. As soon as the Kyle McCord thing was very obviously not going to work, they were going to get a quarterback. Now you got Harbaugh leaving Michigan. I would say that's 99% if it's a percent.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these teams coming into the Big Ten, which is going to put a real microscope on them. And they're just looking at it going, I don't have to win every game. Or let's say we lose to Michigan. Guess what? I'm still in. I'm still in, and by the end of the year, I will have all these guys brought together. We'll be playing our best football of the year, and we are going to beat your brains out. And there will be the college football purist that goes, well, they bought it. Everybody has.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has.
Yep.
How do you think Michigan got all those guys to come back last year? That's not an opinion. It's a fact. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
You can't be mad at it because it's all within the rules.
Precisely.
That's the problem. You have to change the rules. And that goes back to what I said in the first hour. I'm taking an old phrase that we all grew up with of just say no, and I'm adding a couple words on the end to your children. We've got a whole generation that's never been told no, and I'm telling you, every single year this gets worse and worse and worse. I ain't been wrong about this for a second, and I'm not going to start being wrong about it now. This, you give an inch, they will take a mile. And I mean high school athletes, and they should, because you're not legislating it. If you as an employer told employees, there is no cap on what I will pay you to keep you here, do you not think you're never going to be satisfied? If you gave me 50, you'll give me 55.
Mm-hmm.
It's basic economics. We all learned it in civics in high school. Supply and demand. There's a limited number of high-level quarterbacks, high-level safeties, high-level linebackers, and there are only a handful of people that can afford to pay it. Ohio State is not playing by the same rules you are. I don't even care who we're talking about here. They are going all in on 1 year because they know the rules are changing, and it's going to be at the behest of what they just did.
Mm-hmm. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back with you tomorrow at noon right here in the Ingalls studio.
Friday, March 15th, the Orange Peel presents Scott Stapp, lead vocalist and lyricist for Creed. Get your tickets now, online at theorangepeel.net. Don't miss Scott Stapp, live March 15th. See you at the Peel.
The check is good, the experience is smooth, and the reviews online are wonderful at GiveMeTheVin.com. They don't call us America's best car buyer for nothing.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Welcome into this edition of CEOs You Should Know. I'm Mark Starling, and today we're talking with Jeff Furlan, CEO and owner of Hummingbird Insurance in Asheville. Jeff, what kind of charitable organizations does Hummingbird focus their efforts towards?
Well, we tend to focus our charity or our help on other organizations that focus on health or wellness in some way. Specifically, over the past few years, there are some food banks and also medical societies that we really like. And personally, I tend to like Bounty and Soul Food Bank that has very healthy, wholesome, a lot of farm fresh food locally. And then there's also Project Access, which provides medical consultations and possibly surgery to people that do not have the income and do not have coverage.
Thanks, Jeff. You've been listening to CEOs You Should Know, a short conversation with business leaders around Western North Carolina. To hear more of this conversation, just head to the audio archive of this station's website.
He can't bring about world peace, stop inflation, or keep your kid from getting another nose ring, but he can make mornings easier to face.
Mark Starling and First News on 570, News Radio 570 WWNC.
At Ingalls, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Gray sky will stick with us right into the afternoon. And really, like I mentioned this morning, maybe some patchy areas of rain. Most of it light and, again, patchy. Tonight, still that chance of rain. A little bit better after midnight, 43, but nothing steady or heavy. Going to have a brief round of rain tomorrow in the morning, then showers in the afternoon. Patchy fog, 55. Better chance, I think, of showers on Thursday. Showers are likely, and highs will be in the low 60s. For the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stajic.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville WP.